Our thoughts and prayers today are with so many people that we lost, so many people that are missing, so many families that have been affected by this attack on America, attack on New York. In particular, we pray for and we remember the police officers and the firefighters and the EMTs and the healthcare workers who sacrificed their lives to save over 25,000 people. So all of us today remember them and pray for them and dedicate ourselves to them to make certain that we prevail, and we will. It's time, though, as the President has said, as Governor Pataki has said, and I join with him, it's time for Americans to go about their lives undaunted, without fear, to show the people who attacked us that they can't stop America. They can't stop America from going forward. They can't stop America from prevailing. It's time for us to get back to playing football and playing baseball and going to school and going to the movies and going to plays and creating and doing the things that make America the greatest country in the world. So I'm very, 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 very happy today that the NFL has gone forward with their schedule, and we're going to play football again, and we're going to show people that America just moves ahead, and we're undaunted, and we're not at all fearful. Thank you, and God bless America.
For spacious skies, for amber waves of green,
for purple mountain majesty, above the fruited plain, America,
my sweet America.
God shed His amazing grace on thee,
And crown thy good with brotherhood.
from sea to shining sea, from sea to shining sea, shining sea.
Now let's all join together in a moment of silence. Presenting our nation's colors today is the U.S. Army's 1st Corps Command Honor Guard from Fort Lewis. And now, join in singing our national anthem, performed by Mount Lake Terrace Police Detective Don Duncan, and signed by Brittany Isles from the Northwest School for Hearing Impaired Children.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed through the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Strong in the stadium, all with one voice, one heartbeat. That of an American. We'll be back with the opening kickoff after this. And now the Seahawks and Eagles with the coin toss.
He's on the field for the coin toss.
Today's honorary captains: Kelly Fox, President of the Washington State Council of Firefighters; Bill Hanson, Executive Director of the Washington Council of Police Sheriffs; Staff Sergeant Scott McNabb of the 62nd Airlift Wing McCord Air Force Base; and Officer
Philadelphia, you're the visiting team. Who'll call a toss? This is tails. This is heads. Your choice is?
Tails.
Tails is a choice. It is tails. You have won the choice. You will receive. Seattle, you will kick. Which way would you like to kick? Will you reverse the field, please? Philadelphia has won the choice and will receive. Good luck, men.
An emotional time here at Husky Stadium in Seattle for this Seahawks-Eagles matchup. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Curt Menefee, along with my partner Brian Baldinger. And Baldy, as New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani said, and the president said, it's time for all of us to move forward. Doesn't mean moving on and forgetting, but moving forward.
You're right, Curt. And first of all, our prayers go out to everybody who's lost people in this tragedy, people that have suffered. In the morning, the grieving isn't over. In fact, you know, we're not going to forget this. But I do believe that football players have a special ability to block things out when they walk between the lines. They've already begun it in practice. They'll do it today. It's a special quality because these games are important.
Well, one of the guys who is in charge of making sure his team understands that is Mike Holmgren. He now joins the third member of our crew, Tim Ryan, down on the field. Tim?
Thanks, Curt. Mike, what'd you tell your team today?
I just said that they're well prepared. They had a great week of practice. Go out and have some fun. Let's play smart, but let's play with emotion.
You feeling patriotic today?
Yeah, you know, I don't think you can help it, Tim. I mean, this is a special day for all of us, and it's important we're back to work, but we're never going to forget what happened.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Back upstairs, guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Tim and Coach Holmgren. So the Eagles have won the toss. Both these teams obviously trying to get back to the business of football after missing last week, as did the entire National Football League. Week one, the Eagles lost an overtime matchup to the St. Louis Rams.
You know, Curt, there's been counseling going on both sides. I mean, both teams, both Mike Holmgren and Andy Reid brought in preachers this week. They didn't want any players who suffered to keep anything inside. They wanted them to get it out, talk about it, grieve as a unit, and they're more united now.
Ryan Lindell set to kick off. The deep man, Brian Mitchell, takes it in his end zone, downs it there. The Eagles will begin at the 20-yard line. Led by the third-year quarterback, second as a starter, Donovan McNabb, who had a nice game last week despite the loss in overtime to St. Louis. Up front, a big offensive line led by the tackles 6'7", 349 Trey Thomas and 6'7", 330 John Runyon. The backs and receivers, Deuce Staley back in action, but he's got young receivers, new receivers in Todd Pinkston and James Thrash, the former Redskin.
Yeah, and Deuce Staley is still coming back from that L. Frank injury, only 9 yards and 9 carries the first week against the Rams. Are looking to get him unleashed today.
They begin from the 20. McNabb to the air. Cecil Martin, the fullback, forced out of bounds, picks up 1 yard before Chad Brown forces him out. The Seahawks, 7 new starters on defense compared to last year, all right up the middle in Randall, the former Viking, and Eaton, the former Patriot. Kirkland, the former Steeler. And in the defensive backfield, the rookie Ken Lucas making his second NFL start, as is Paul Miranda, who's in for the injured Sean Springs.
You mentioned the 7 new starters. There's a big one in the middle, Levon Kirkland, over from the Steelers. He gives them a real run-stopping threat in the middle, and they were the worst defense in yards given up last year. He's helped them out.
Eagles come out with 2 tight ends. McNabb had the time, but incomplete. Pass intended for one of those tight ends, Chad Lewis.
Yeah, and that man, Donovan McNabb, is still the most important player on this entire football team. And he's still the biggest offensive threat. And he has a habit of starting out a little bit slow. I think he needs a long time to warm up. He comes out real early before games to get the arm loosened up, to get lathered up. But he's a young guy that has a lot of adrenaline, and they haven't played in a couple of weeks. It takes him a while to get into a rhythm.
And the Eagles losing an offensive lineman in John Welborn, their left guard, limping off. Last week he had to miss some time in the game.
Well, he's got the ginger left ankle that he missed in the 3rd play of the game against the Rams. It's been bothering him. Obviously, it's not healthy. It's a high ankle sprain, so Doug Brzezinski is in their left guard right now.
Well, Brzezinski was a starter 2 seasons ago as a rookie coming out of Boston College.
He'll get tested by John Randall. First play at left guard, lining right up on his nose.
2 tight ends in on 3rd and long. They need the 30-yard line for the first down. And there's McNabb running. Gets the first down, a stiff arm, and a little bit more before being forced out of bounds by Paul Miranda after a gain of 14.
You know, and the biggest concern of Seattle today was the ball in his hands after the play breaks down. The longer he holds on to the ball, the harder for the integrity of the defense to hold up. Everybody's in coverage right now. Big opening in the middle. Those linebackers had dropped out, gives him an opening. He's their biggest weapon on offense.
Always dangerous once he gets outside the pocket. First down from the 35. First carry of the game. Deuce Staley doesn't get much, maybe a yard on the play. Levon Kirkland with the tackle.
And I mentioned in that first week that Deuce Staley only had 9 carries for 9 yards. And the thing that hurt him in that game against the Rams was quick penetration, where he had to stop and start very quickly. That's what just happened to Seattle. They got into the backfield, played defense on the offensive side of the ball, made him change directions. Welborn getting that ankle attended to. He'll be back out there. He came back against the Rams of the next series.
Eagles go with an empty backfield. Nate Brown in as the 3rd receiver. The quick pass up top instead to Todd Pinkston. Pinkston finally dragged out by Ken Lucas. Give him 6 yards on the play.
You know, Todd Pinkston's in the 2nd year. He's out here all alone. You see the cushion given up by first-year cornerback Kenny Lucas, just a rookie. They're going to pick on Kenny Lucas. They make him cover deep down the field, make him tackle. But anytime they get that cushion, Donovan McNabb has the ability to audible and go right to it.
Eagles have to cross the 45-yard line for the first down. Looks like McNabb's changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Quick pass intended for Pinkston and broken up, incomplete. Nice job by Paul Miranda getting a hand in there.
Hey, you know, they went to Todd Pinkston on his 3rd down. The problem with throwing the ball to Pinkston in these slant patterns is that he's so skinny. It's difficult for him to get a body in between the cornerback.
They say he's 170, but, you know, that may be adding a little on when you see him.
He's got to jump around in the shower just to get wet.
Sean Landeta, in his 17th year in the National Football League, punting to a good return man in Charlie Rogers. From the 11-yard line, penalty markers down. And so is Rogers. Let's see what the flag's about. Dick Hantak back as a referee. Talk about football being back. The NFL officials settling their contract with the National Football League and back in action as they celebrate what's officially called Week 2.
Well, it was probably the time to get back too. I mean, this is the time to worry about your own economic picture when our country's in this kind of situation. and they're happy to be back.
Holding. Receiving team number 19 while the ball was in the air. We will penalize half the distance to the goal line from the spot where possession was changed. First down.
Fabian Bones called for the penalty. The Seahawks will get their first chance on offense on a day where everyone thinks it's great to be an American.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Budweiser with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer.
This is no day at the beach here for Fabian Bones trying to hold off William Hampton, the toughest block in football out there on the edge. This holding call, the result is really bad field position for Seattle. They start at the 6-yard line. They started their first game on the 1-yard line 2 weeks ago.
Didn't get a touchdown in that game against Cleveland at all. Ricky Waters out to the 10-yard line, a gain of 4. Matt Hasselbeck making just his second career start in the National Football League. Of course, coming over in the offseason in the trade from the Green Bay Packers. Up front, 3 number 1 picks on the line for the Seahawks. Walter Jones, the rookie Steve Hutchinson, and Chris McIntosh back after having a neck stinger. And the receivers, another number 1 pick, Corin Robinson, and last year's 3rd-round pick, Darrell Jackson, who led all rookie receivers last season in receptions in the NFL. Hasselbeck over the middle, incomplete, pass intended for Jackson. The Eagles front 4, a strong unit. Last year's Defensive Rookie of the Year, Corey Simon, and the Pro Bowler, Hugh Douglas, up front. Another Pro Bowler in the middle is Jeremiah Trotter, and same thing in the defensive backfield with Troy Vincent. Brian Dawkins, a Pro Bowler a couple of seasons ago.
Man, I think Dawkins is a real key to that secondary. To me, the best free safety in football. He covers like a corner, he hits like a safety, and he's got the savvy of a longtime Pro Bowl vet.
On 2nd down, Hasselbeck. Flush down in the pocket. Ricky Waters can't make the one-handed grab.
Well, Ricky Waters had a lot of room to run in front of him. They got exactly what they wanted. And a normal, very sure-handed Ricky Waters just put a glove on this one. This could have been a lot of damage to the Eagles. Right there, it beat Mike Caldwell into coverage, the weak side linebacker of the Eagles. But Hasselbeck flushed on that, forced to step up, and you see the reaction.
Jeff Fiegels, the former Eagle, back to punt. Brian Mitchell, the deep man. And Fiegels gets a good one. Backs him up to the 30-yard line. Mitchell fights his way out, picks up 14 yards after the 60-yard punt by Fiegels. We are scoreless here in the first quarter in Seattle. An absolutely perfect day in Seattle weather-wise. One of America's best-kept secrets. Every time we come out here, nothing but sunshine. John Wellborn back in at left guard. Play action. Low pass to front. Chad Lewis spins his way out to the 49-yard line.
Fox Box will update you here all day on the scores that have finished and those that are still playing. St. Louis out in San Francisco going on right now. The Jets up in New England, also late games this afternoon.
How about the Chicago Bears beating Minnesota?
Oh yeah, the upsets keep coming, huh?
And the Ravens having trouble this afternoon with Cincinnati. 2nd and 4. McNabb calling the play at the line of scrimmage again. Deuce Staley. Not much running room. Another yard. Staley last week ran the ball 9 times, only picked up 9 yards, and so far today it's 2 carries and 2 yards. The average stays the same, huh?
Well, I watched Deuce Staley in practice this week on a couple of occasions, and I know that everybody says that he's healthy. I question it. What I want to see from Deuce is he never had great speed, wasn't a great cutter, but what he had was great leg explosion and ability to break tackles. He was a working man's back, and I want to see him break tackles before I anoint him as being really healthy.
They need the 46 for the first. Under pressure. McNabb brought down. No. Spins free from John Randall, and Chad Brown gets him for the sack. Penalty marker down as well.
I think they might get against Seattle here, maybe a face mask against Seattle. Could nullify a huge loss on the play.
Well, they said they wanted to be relentless against him and not let him out of the pocket. He escaped John Randall, but couldn't get away from Chad Brown. But it still may work out in their favor. That's a personal foul face mask, 15 yards.
Personal foul, face mask. Defense, we're penalizing from behind the line of scrimmage. It's an automatic first down.
See if we can see which one got it. Was it Randall or was it Brown?
Yeah, it's John Randall right here on top of the face mask. And that was a flagrant one. He didn't let it go once he had it. Randall, who hasn't missed a game in 8 straight years, one of the guys Mike Holmgren brought in to bolster that defensive line in the middle defense. Turns out to be about a
15-yard penalty. They had him drop back 15 yards, and it would have been 4th down.
Yeah, it really is about 24 yards in total yards that they lost.
Instead, it's a first down at the Seattle 48. McNabb. All kinds of time. Pass. Incomplete. Deuce Staley couldn't stop him from hitting the ground first.
This is the danger of McNabb. The longer he holds the football, for whatever reason, whether he's scrambling, whether it's great protection, like it is right here. Solid job in the middle. Jermaine Mayberry and John Runyon. Solid protection. They kept both tight ends to protect this time. And the result is McNabb has about 6 seconds with the ball. The longer he holds it, the harder it is for the defense to hold up.
Nate Brown in as the 3rd receiver on 2nd down. Staley. Deuce Staley gets through a hole, finds his running room, and picks up a first down. Right at the 37-yard line before Marcus Robertson gets it.
And that's the best run that Deuce Staley has had in almost a year. Right here, just going to take it off the left side, just a counter right here. They pull the right guard, or right tackle, John Runyon. Just a tackle trap on the play. Not bad following your 350-pound right tackle.
If you got it, use it, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what we're saying here. I mean, against Dallas last year, everyone remembers the pickle juice and all that, 201 yards, but since then, he struggled. Of course, the injury has a big part to do with it. But that'll give him some confidence right there. That was, like I said, the best run of the year so far.
11 yards on the gain and a first down for the Eagles.
Well, the big part is they hit Seattle right in the middle of that defense where they really upgraded it, bringing in Chad Eaton and John Randall and Levon Kirkland.
Staley, the deep man in the aisle. Make the handoff to him. McNabb under pressure again. Clean sack this time. Chad Brown. Brown's 3rd sack of the season. 2 in the opener against Cleveland and 1 today.
And I think the biggest benefactor of those new veteran guys that Seattle's brought in is Chad Brown, because now he's rushing the passer out here on the edge, working on Trey Thomas. He keeps Donovan McNabb in front of him the whole time, but he's relentless on it. Really, the pressure of John Randall in the middle forced McNabb to step up, and he never felt Chad Brown off the edge. Well, Seattle's all messed up. Lamar King out here was going out to cover a wide receiver.
Well, he saw Chad Lewis, the tight end, go out and decided to follow him.
He wasn't sure.
Not the right move, big fella.
Get back inside, Lamar.
While they take a timeout, we will too. Still no score. Halfway through the first period, week 2 of the National Football League back in action. That's how the folks from the Love Crews get here to the stadium.
It's the best kept secret in the NFL. What a way to come to a game on Lake Washington. Get out of the house for a while.
That's Chad Lewis, the tight end, moving back inside on 2nd and long. McNabb flushed out again, but gets it off to Deuce Staley, and Staley picks up 2 yards on the play.
Ball was out there too, Curt, but it looked like he was down.
Yeah, he was down, the signal. Lamar King on the tackle.
And Seattle's coming after Donovan McNabb. I think they saw success that the St. Louis Rams had 2 weeks ago, and they're really coming after him, especially up the middle. And I think the hardest thing for McNabb to handle, going to see pressure right here. Chad Brown up the middle, picked up late by Doug Brzezinski. The hardest thing for a quarterback is quick pressure right in his face.
Eagles need to cross the 28-yard line for the first down. Dumps it off to the fullback, Pharrell Buckhalter. And Buckhalter, the rookie, gets in but doesn't pick up enough for the first down. Going to be about 2 yards short. Ike Charlton stopped him.
Pharrell Buckhalter is the backup for Deuce Staley. His first action in the NFL.
His first touch.
Yeah, first touch. Fourth-round pick out of Nebraska, and I think it was a good fourth-round pick. I think he's going to give him something there in the backup tailback position.
So David Akers going to attempt the field goal. This will be from 48 yards away. And it's through. No trouble whatsoever. So the Eagles score first in this ball game, and they take a 3-0 lead here in Seattle.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Spiders, listed on the American Stock Exchange. By the HP PhotoSmart digital camera, how will you use it? By State Farm Insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by DirecTV, the #1 satellite entertainment provider.
You know, Baldy, they got those hogs all over. I thought we were in Washington with the old Redskins line for a while.
I like the fact that, you see those pigs all over the place. Reminds me of some offensive linemen I know.
David Akers to Charlie Rogers from the 5. Can't escape. Barry Gardner brings him down, only 6 yards on the return. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the National League pennant race heats up when, yes, the Mets and Mike Piazza take on Chipper Jones and the Braves in a pivotal game for both teams. Or Ryan Klesko and the Padres look to spoil Barry Bonds' chase in history as the Giants chase the playoffs. It all begins this week in baseball, this Saturday at 12:30 Eastern and Pacific, right here on Fox.
Hey, Curt, I like the way the Mariners celebrated their divisional championship, or clinching of the division, a couple weeks ago.
Wanted to Safeco Field and celebrate it with the fans and the American flag. On the reverse, Corin Robinson takes the end around, picks up 2 yards. Eagles not fooled at all by it. Mike Caldwell and Damon Moore stopped him.
Curt, the strength of this defense, I think, is the maturity of it and how many years a lot of these guys have played together. Dawkins and Vincent, Damon Moore in his 3rd year. Watch the pursuit right here. They've got a lot of speed, and even though Corin Robinson, their first-round pick, has a lot of speed, didn't fool Troy Vincent. Hugh Douglas over there on the tackle as well.
So it's 2nd and 8 after the short 2-yard pickup. Ricky Waters caught in the backfield, but escaped Hollis Thomas's tackle. Doesn't get much more. Going to lose 2 yards on the play. Jeremiah Trotter finally wrestled him to the ground.
Jeremiah Trotter playing middle linebacker. He's actually moving all over the place right now, but look at the eyes of the middle linebacker. His job today is Ricky Waters, and he was looking forward to the challenge. Ricky's the guy that straps the piano to his back here and carries this football team. He likes to run in that I formation. Wherever Ricky goes today, Trotter's going to be right there with him.
Ricky's alone in the backfield on 3rd down. Seahawks have to cross the 22 for the first. Eagles showing blitz. Hasselbeck with the run instead. Gets the first down. Brian Dawkins chased him down from behind, but only after he got to the 27-yard line for a pickup of 15 and a first.
Talking to Mike Holmgren about Matt Hasselbeck, he said he's got a great feel for the game. And there was one opening that opened up on the offensive line here when he scrambled, and it was to the left. And he felt that lane. Ryan Dawkins was coming in at him and came too far. Hasselbeck felt him and found the opening enough for the first down.
Showing some mobility.
Yeah. Well, that, he was Mr. Phenom. He was Mr. August for years in Green Bay. And even here, where he never got a chance to play because of Brett Favre. He always showed that intangible.
Ricky Waters on 1st down. There's a couple of nice moves. Gets it out to the 33 for a 6-yard pickup.
He's like a human pinball, inside a pinball machine, just bouncing off players. Ricky got into some kung fu in the offseason. Went all the way down to 211 pounds, the lightest he's ever been in the NFL. and he's put the weight back on. He's up to over 220 now. He said that it was too light. Couldn't handle the punishment.
230 a couple of years ago, thought it was too heavy. This year it was too light, so feels pretty good at 220. Play action. Hasselbeck rolls it out to the tight end, Christian Fourier. Fourier, pickup of about 2 yards on the play. Carlos Emmons with the tackle.
Well, they were looking big and down the field, looking to stretch it right here. Up here at the top. Warren Robinson working against this double team right here. Hasselbeck with a good play action fake. Right into that trap there. Smart move of just dumping it off and going to his check down here just to get a completion.
His first of the game. It'll be 3rd and 2. Seahawks bring in Atula Millie as the second tight end. Hasselbeck under pressure and down. Brian Dawkins.
3rd down pressure of the Eagles is as good as there is in football. Andy Reid said that we were late getting into Seattle because we were loading up our defensive coordinator's blitz schemes. Here comes Dawkins off the corner. Hasselbeck never feels him. Of course, he's dealing with the pressure of Brandon Whiting right in his face. But Dawkins is as good a blitzer from the secondary as there is in football. Just a great feel for him.
Fiegels to punt to Brian Mitchell. Ooh. Boy, the last one was 60 yards. This is another boomer. We'll see where they spot it depending on where it went out of bounds. But another nice kick for Jeff Fiegels. And the official keeps walking. Seattle certainly not happy about that. Spotted at the 29. That'll make it a 44-yard punt.
Think it's something positive. Stay positive.
My prayers are with you guys. You guys are soldiers. And that's going to be hard to concentrate today, but hopefully this will help lessen it a little bit. I'm not saying football is this deep thing, but we entertain people on Sundays for a few hours. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do my best. We're going to make it through this, and we're going to be a stronger country because of this. Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem. Both teams certainly hoping they could bring smiles to America for just a couple of hours. First down from the 29, Cecil Martin. Pickup of 7. And, you know, Bald, as we do this game here in Seattle, you can't help but think about America's pending military presence. There's so many military bases here, like the guys out of Whidbey Island Naval Air Station, Everett Naval Air Station, Bangor Naval Submarine Base, Bremerton Naval Shipyard, Fairchild Air Force Base, McChord Air Force Base, Fort Lewis. Yep. They did the color guard before the game. So many stations right here in the Seattle-Tacoma area.
And back in Philadelphia as well. Fort Dix and Fort Monmouth.
2nd and 2. Correll Buckhalter. A nice job by the rookie. Reggie Tongue finally stops him.
And what you see from Correll Buckhalter on his first NFL carry is decisiveness. One cut and downfield. Took it a little bit to the right, saw an opening back to the left, and that's really Nebraska football right there. I mean, that's where he came from. That's the system that he's used to. And just talking to linemen throughout training camp, they were impressed at how quickly he hit a hole, and he hit that one awfully fast.
9 yards and a first down to the 46. Buckhalter split the backfield with Cecil Martin. Quick pass, James Thrash into Seattle, Torrey. We send it down to Los Angeles and James Brown for an NFL update.
All right, Curt, take a look at the Rams getting things going here as Curt on a play action, rolling right and throws to the former defensive tackle, now tight end, Jeff Robinson. It is now 9-0 Rams. That in the first quarter. Back to Curt and Brian.
All right, JB, you see the Rams, since they've been good, kind of had 49ers number, reversing the trend from before.
And they snuck out of Philadelphia 2 weeks ago with the win. I know Mike Martz was thrilled.
2nd and 5 for the Eagles. McNabb up top, one-handed. Pinkston can't grab it. Ken Lucas running right with him, and Todd Pinkston tried to pull it in with the left hand, but couldn't do it.
You know, and Ken Lucas is a rookie cornerback, a second-round pick for Seattle, and he's taken on the Blazer today, Todd Pinkston.
There you see
did a good job.
Daly standing on the sideline. Looked like he may be done for a while. He's got that shoulder wrapped up. And that must have happened on one of his 2 carries this afternoon, because no signs of an injury coming into this game. I guess the only good news is it's not that foot that's wrapped up right now. That's heel.
Third down for the Eagles. They need the 44 for the first. McNabb dumps it off. And that's Buckhalter. Gets the first down, and then he pops. Terrell Buckhalter a little slow getting up. Tim Terry with the tackle.
It's Cecil Martin that's slow getting up right there, Curt. He was his lead blocker out there. What we've seen from Buckhalter is pretty good hands so far. You know, the tailbacks and fullbacks are going to catch a lot of passes in this offense. And the question mark around Buckhalter was, did he have good hands? Because in Nebraska, they just don't throw the ball.
Who throws in Nebraska? That's all they do is run there.
Well, actually, their pitches are considered passes.
That's a
there.
completion when you're in Nebraska. Go Big Red, right?
Well, I mean, that's their starting backfield on the sideline right now. Deuce Staley standing right behind him.
15-yard pickup gives him a first down at the 34. There's Buckhalter again. Ball's loose, loses the football, and Seattle falls on it. Ken Lucas, the rookie, with the recovery.
The kid had an interception last week and now a fumble recovery in the second game. Buckhalter coming right through the line. See who gets the hands. It looks like Cedric Woodard, backup defensive tackle in there. Got the right paw in there, knocked it loose, and Lucas right in the mix. Smart enough just to fall on that ball, not try to pick it up and do anything with it.
Second round pick out of the University of Mississippi, making his presence felt so far in the two games. Seahawks take over at the 29-yard line. Eagles coming on the blitz. Carlos Emmons. Second sack for this Eagle defense against Matt Hasselbeck.
I'll tell you, and Carlos Emmons is one of the most underrated players in this entire Eagle team, really. He's the best strong side linebacker right here on the outside working. Beat the pickup block of Sean Alexander. And now here's the speed of that team. Emmons a good chase all the way across the field, but I was saying that defensive coordinator Jimmy Johnson thinks he's the best strong side linebacker he's ever coached. Great on top of a tight end.
They brought him in to man the tight ends last season from Pittsburgh. 5-yard loss, second and 15. Hasselbeck. Problems with the exchange. Ricky Waters falls on it to recover it. Seahawks probably happy that's the final play of the first quarter. A chance to get to the sideline and regroup. Well, the Eagles starting backfield there on the sideline, and Deuce Staley with a sprained right shoulder, done for the day.
We'll see the rookie Terrell Buckhalter. Cecil Martin was out. Jamie Reeder went in for him, but it looks like Martin's going to be okay. And for this Eagle defense right now, this is exactly the situation that they feed off of. It's 3rd and 21, and I don't expect Matt Hasselbeck here to try and create any miracles. If the ball's not there, if Reid's not there, he'll get rid of this ball and punt it away.
They've got to cross the 39-yard line for the first down, and there's some movement early.
That's the rookie, Steve Hutchinson. First-round pick from Michigan. When we talked to, sounded like he was about an 8-year Pro Bowl vet. Just a very seasoned guy and going to be a very good player.
Well, he's 24 years old as a rookie.
False start. Offense, number 76, 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
And that is Hutchinson, the left guard, 24 years old, but played all 4 years, started all 4 years at Michigan.
You know, Curt, watching Seattle here, and then you see the look on Holmgren's face. They didn't score a touchdown in the first week against Cleveland. They struggled on offense. They're very young in offense in key places like left guard with Hutchinson there, a young quarterback, young receivers. And this 2-week layoff isn't going to help them find, you know, that level of execution that Holmgren demands and hopefully will get.
3rd and very long. They just decide to let Ricky run with it. Ricky Waters fights his way out to the 30-yard line, a gain of 12, but obviously not enough. Bobby Taylor with the tackle after the 17-yard pickup.
Ricky just put his head down and just plowed straight ahead, right through this big hole here in the 3-man front. He's just going straight ahead, and he's not looking to really beat anybody with moves, just run somebody over and get as many yards as he could.
Well, Jeff Fiegels, who's had a 60-yard punt and a 44-yarder, kicking back to Brian Mitchell. He's got a return here. He's got a good setup. From the 26. Couple of dance steps. Gets out to the 36. A return of 10 after another 44-yard punt. McNabb and the Eagles take over their first possession of the second quarter with a 3-point lead.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Original Coors. Nothing beats an original. By Visa, it's everywhere NFL fans want to be. By UPS, moving at the speed of business. And by IBM, taking e-business and your business to the next level.
Curt, that's one of those landmark views in the good US of A. Mount Rainier here, highest point in the state of Washington. First down for the Eagles. McNabb up top. It's caught. Touchdown, James Thrash. 64 yards. And they're picking on these cornerbacks here. Going after Paul Miranda, making only his second NFL start. And that was a bullet down the field from McNabb. James Thrash, who only caught one pass in his debut for the Eagles in week 1, was open a lot of times. They just didn't find him. Connected there, working on Paul Miranda. They found him that time, big time. David Akers on for the extra point. Penalties before the play. Thrash coming over from the Washington Redskins. Had a breakout season last year and was a free agent this offseason.
Offense, number 73, 5-yard penalty. Still a try.
That's on Jim Pine. But Thrash came over from the Redskins. They got rid of both receivers they had last year in Torrance Small, Charles Johnson, and decided to go with Pinkston, a second-year guy, and a new free agent in Thrash. Yeah, they drafted a receiver in the first round, Freddie Mitchell. He's in street clothes today, coming back from a hamstring injury. McNabb said that he doesn't have any favorites, so he just runs the offense. He's going to spread the ball around to whoever's open. Akers makes the extra point. So one play on offense. James Thrash, 64 yards, makes it 10-0. Yeah, it starts up front with the protection, though. Right here, Hank Fraley, good job of doubling on John Randall. And here, look at the cushion right here that Paul Miranda is giving Thrash. The Eagles' #1 receiver. Little outside move, got his hand down. Nice concentration. Oh, McNabb put it right on the button. A nice concentration by Thrash to stay in there after he bobbled it. Yeah, a little contact right here, but, you know, the contact, you're able to get through that because you got strength. And I talked to Thrash this week in practice. He wasn't down at all about his performance in the first week. You know, in fact, he only caught one pass. McNabb just keeps getting better and better. That is his 11th touchdown pass in the last 6 games, too, now. He's finding the end zone. He's off to a good start here today. McNabb, his second touchdown of the season. I'll make it third. He had 2 last week. So his third touchdown of the season. Thrash, his first touchdown reception for a career-long 64 yards. You know, and James Thrash is still young enough that, you know, along with the Freddie Mitchell and Nate Brown and Todd Pinkston, that part of Andy Reid's plan was to have this team be young and grow together and get stronger and more experienced together. Build that strong nucleus on offense the way they have on defense. Look at them. They're all sitting there together. That's part of the reason he got rid of the 2 veterans. Yeah. So they could have the youngsters mature together. David Akers set to kick it off to Charlie Rogers. Rogers gonna just down it in the end zone. Hey, next week, Fox NFL Sunday begins with America's #1 pregame show as JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris get you ready for kickoff. Then Leroy Glover and the Saints take on Jesse Armstead and the New York Football Giants in a showdown between NFC powers. Of course, Jamal Anderson and the Falcons taking on Jake Plummer and the Cardinals, plus other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on Fox. You know, Seattle's game plan today, they wanted to take the air out of the ball and really run Ricky Waters and control the line of scrimmage. But down 10-0, you got to begin to open it up. They did here with 3 wide receivers. From the 20. Hasselbeck coming across the field is Darrell Jackson. Jackson got to dancing it a little bit. Jeremiah Trotter and Carlos Evans tackled him after a pickup of 7.
Well, you're going to see Matt Hasselbeck here stay in there, hang in there, make the read, make the throw, but not without getting a hit this time on his backside. That time, Mike Caldwell on top of him. Those hits begin to add up. Last week against the Rams, the Eagles hit Curt Warner 18 times. I wasn't really sure how he was left standing at the end of that game.
Seattle having trouble passing the ball this afternoon. Eagles coming on the blitz again. Sean Alexander needed to cross the 30 for the first down, and looks like he did. Out to the 31, maybe even the 32.
Well, he said that the Eagles offense is young. The Seattle's offense is even younger. Sean Alexander's last year #1 pick, rotates with Ricky Waters. He comes in and he's the one-back set. He'll run with no fullback. Ricky Waters always runs with the fullback. They really favor that left side of the offensive line behind #1 pick Steve Hutchinson and their Pro Bowler Walter Jones at left tackle.
Jones, the only Pro Bowler in Seattle history from the offensive line. That's Ricky Waters. Gain of 2. Carlos Simmons and Mike Caldwell with the tackle.
Ricky, a former Philadelphia Eagle. Everybody back there remembers him in his 3 years. Pretty memorable. Great player there in Philadelphia. Helped the team to 2 playoff appearances. But he has not slowed down at all, Curt. I mean, he's in his 10th straight year without missing a game. You know, I mean, it's unbelievable. 115 straight starts for Ricky Waters, the most for any running back in this league. And the numbers keep piling up.
At 115 starts, second all-time, only Walter Payton with 4. For running back. Waters out of the eye. Gets through the seam. Another first down. Mike Caldwell with the tackle. 8 more yards for Ricky Waters.
And Curt, it's time to start talking about Ricky Waters in Hall of Fame type numbers. It just is. There's nothing that's an illusion to it. Here he is. He's going to pass O.J. Simpson. He's going to pass John Riggins this year. He's going to get into the top 10. You know, the yards from scrimmage, over 100 yards per game for his career. And here he is lining up at wide receiver, where he's a great receiver.
And Sean Alexander alone in the backfield gets the handoff. Doesn't pick up much. Troy Vincent with the tackle.
And it's a different Ricky Waters. He's got a son now, Ricky Amir, who's 10 months old. You know, he's a more mature guy. He said, look, I needed to go through everything that I did. I was an arrogant guy. I thought it was about money, about fame, and all. I had to go through that to find out what it's really about, you know, and it's about the team. It's about being a good person, and he's become that. I mean, he really shared a lot with us on Friday, I thought.
Well, Mike Holmgren made him a team captain. That's how mature he thinks Ricky Waters has gotten. They fake the handoff. Hasselbeck being chased. Penalty markers on the play. Hugh Douglas is bringing the heat. Well, there you go on the sideline. That's Corin Robinson talking a little smack to Jeremiah Trotter.
Yeah, Corin Robinson's just a rookie. Doesn't be messing around with the 10-year veteran and Troy Vincent.
Holding, defense number 23. Ineligible downfield. Number 76. Penalties are offset. Replay, second down.
So Troy Vincent called for holding, and Steve Hutchinson downfield too early. You know what that's called on the playground, Baldy? That's called a do-over.
Yeah. Players, penalties just cancel themselves out.
So it'll still be 2nd and 10.
They tried to run a screen that time. Ricky Waters tripped up at the line of scrimmage. He was knocked down, and there's no place for Hasselbeck to go with the ball. You play a lot of football on the playground, Curt?
That's the only place I got to play.
We argue too much to do do-overs.
Seattle trying to get back to 0 in the passing department. On the end around again, Corin Robinson. And the Eagles won't be fooled again. Carlos Emmons stopped him.
What they're trying to do is slow down the pursuit of the Eagles. That's the second reverse they run. Normally, most teams might try it once in a game, but they want to keep the Eagles honest on the backside, and they've shown that they're playing disciplined defense. Like I said, Carlos Emmons is so underrated on this team. He makes everybody else around him better.
Well, this is a big third down play right at the 49-yard line. They need 4 yards for the first.
And the Eagles will give you a lot of looks. You're seeing movement here, rotation here.
Hasselbeck rolling out. Completes it to Bobby Ingram. Ingram, the former Chicago Bear, getting the first down into Eagle territory. They'll spot it at the 32 for a pickup of 19.
Well, I tell you, Bobby Ingram came here a couple of weeks ago when he was released from the Chicago Bears. He's in the slot right here. He's going to come in and then find the dead spot in this zone here. Really a breakdown in the defense by the Eagles that time. Damon Moore and Troy Vincent running into each other on the cross.
We talked about the youth movement with the wide receivers in Philadelphia. Same thing going on here in Seattle, except they picked up the veteran Ingram to try and give the young guys some leadership. There's Ricky Waters. Pickup of 9. Damon Moore on the tackle.
The best thing that a team can do, an offense can do against a blitz-happy defense like the Eagles is go right at them. That time, Jeremiah Trotter here comes on a blitz. They pick that up, and it leaves a big gash here in the middle, right behind Robbie Toback. Forces Damon Moore to come from a strong safety position on the other side of the field to make the tackle.
Ricky Waters deep in the eye again. Gets the carry. Pushing the pile. Looks like he got the first down. Barry Gardner with the stop. Seahawks keeping the drive going.
And this is really what the Seahawks wanted to do. Jeremiah Trotter getting a blow on the sidelines. And this is what Seahawks wanted. They wanted the Eagles to tire out, to fatigue. You've gone 2 weeks without playing a football game, and control it with Ricky Waters in that offensive line. Taking the ball out of Matt Hasselbeck's hands and out of long third down situations.
Another run, the 8th of this drive. Ricky Waters.
I'll tell you, and Ricky won't get tired. He doesn't need a blow. Ricky wants every single carry. Things have never changed for him. You know, in fact, everywhere he goes, it seems like there's a stud waiting behind him that they've drafted to take his place, and he always keeps him at bay.
Doing it right here with Sean Alexander. Can't get on the field because of Ricky. Waters picks up 3. 11th play of the drive. Hasselbeck to Ricky out of the backfield. Carlos Emmons gets it right at the 16-yard line. Give Ricky Waters 2 more.
What's going to be against Seattle? Dick Hantack.
Dick Hantack checking out the penalty flag.
Illegal hands in the face offense, number 71, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. Second down.
Mentioning it was against tackle. Mentioned that Ricky Waters has kept a lot of great backs at bay, kept them off the field. You know, Charlie Garner has been the 3rd most explosive back in football the last 2 years out in San Francisco. Deuce Staley, 2,000-yard years. Amon Green, a big year in Green Bay last year, and Sean Alexander is going to be a very good player when he gets a chance to play. But Ricky said all those guys have made him better and forced him to work harder and concentrate more.
2nd and 17. Ricky out to the 24-yard line, picks up 4 of them back. Jeremiah Trotter tripped him up.
You know, you wonder about him. You know, he's carried almost the ball almost every single carry here in this drive.
Yeah, it really
get tired, but we watched him in practice. He's still carrying every single ball in practice all the way to the goal line for a touchdown.
Well, he told us he feels like the young guys watch him, and they watch his pace, and as he's gotten older, he knows the importance of being a leader by example.
And that's why he's the captain under Mike Holmgren. In fact, he said that Seattle has shown him a respect that he never got anywhere else. They made him a captain. In fact, they told him that they were drafting Sean Alexander before they drafted him.
Seahawks have to get to the 11-yard line. In the air, incomplete. Troy Vincent got a hand in there on the pass intended for Curt Robinson to break it up.
Troy Vincent here. Nice pass defense. Looking at Hasselbeck all the way. Jumped on the route before Hasselbeck did. Before Curt Robinson did. He beat Corey Robertson to that route, just looking at the quarterback. Probably wonders why I didn't intercept that ball that time.
And Ryan Lindell with a 52-yarder with 3 seconds left to win the game in Week 1 against Cleveland. Now trying one from 42 yards out. And it's going. So the Seahawks get on the scoreboard. 6:09 to play here at Husky Stadium in Seattle. It's 10-3 Philadelphia. Curt, Menefee, Brian Baldinger with you in Seattle, where the Eagles lead at 10-3.
Curt, you know, here it is. There's the dividing line. The Eagles in the sun over here. Seahawks in the shade. I think we saw that in the last drive where the Eagles were fatiguing. Ricky Waters going strong.
Right at his goal line, Brian Mitchell. Spin free. Brought down to the 18 by Atula Neely. Eagles begin from there. Sweating this one out, even though they lead.
And right now, the race is only for history. Barry Bonds has hit 2 homers this afternoon against San Diego. Still playing the game, 66 on the season.
Corral Buckhalter with the run. Chad Brown on the tackle. But you talk about an unbelievable pace. Bonds, after the break by baseball, picking right up where he left off.
Well, I don't think that he was the player of the year in the decade of the 90s, and it's carrying over this year. He's got the big swing, and, you know, talking about home runs, that's the difference in this game here right now, is the home run from McNabb to Thrash. It's good to see the kids back out, enjoying the hot dogs, wearing the flag, and there you go. Slice of Americana.
That's James Thrash. Stays in bounds. Enough for the first down. Out to the 37-yard line. Gain of 13.
Well, I think the Eagles took a little play out of the Seahawks playbook here today. Run the reverse, trying to keep those guys on the backside honest. And that's really why you run a reverse. Last thing you want to do on a reverse is lose yardage. You'll take a play just to keep those guys backside honest, and if you can get something, that's great.
Terrell Buckhalter goes out wide to the left. McNabb, though, to his fullback, Cecil Martin. Boy, what a pop by Chad eating him up after a 5-yard pickup.
Yeah, and I think what's impressive about Donovan McNabb today is just how cool he's been. And really spreading the ball around to a lot of different receivers. Just working the offense. Solid in the middle right there. Hank Fraley at center doing a good job in the middle, and Chad Eaton. Cecil Martin becoming a bigger part of this offense, catching his first 2 touchdowns of his career in Week 1 against the Rams.
Talk about picking up where he left off. McNabb good in the 4th quarter and overtime last week. A nice start this afternoon. On 2nd down, Buckhalter gets the first down out to the 49, a gain of 7. You know what? Not only does he show speed, but he shows resilience. I mean, the first guy that hits him has not brought him down yet today.
Yeah, and I tell you, he's following a big wall of linemen. Right there, Trey Thomas doing an outstanding job against Lamar King at defensive end. Brzezinski right here inside. Trey Thomas coming off on Levon Kirkland. Getting underneath the big middle linebacker. That's what I mean about Buckhalter here. Very sure about his reads and where he's going with the football. He's got a little pop to him after he makes contact, too.
He takes a breather. Brian Mitchell comes in at running back. McNabb to the air. That intended for his tight end and almost picked off by Levon Kirkland.
That's one of the matchups the Eagles wanted to get today, was to get Chad Lewis on Levon Kirkland. Kirkland looks like he's a defensive tackle playing middle linebacker.
Yeah, he does.
And he is a thick guy. And they thought Chad Lewis right here, he's going to be working. Levon Kirkland, 99, is going to pick him up. Here it is. But Kirkland, nice job. He didn't get his hands on a whole lot of footballs.
We talked about Ricky's durability. Kirkland has not missed a start since his rookie year in '92. Brian Mitchell getting a little action. Crosses midfield out to the 48-yard line, a gain of 4. Lamar King tripped him up.
Yeah, big Levon, he said, we talked to him on Friday. He said he had to get back the old man needed to get his rest, but, you know, he came in with the black and gold. He came in with the Steelers. Him and Chad Brown were rookies together, and now they're united here in Seattle. And there's something about being a rookie, you know, with your other rookie teammates coming in together. You never lose that bond, and those two guys on the field today, it's a special feeling for them.
On third down, Eagles need the 41 of Seattle. McNabb, Brian Mitchell. First down, Eagles and more. Mitchell forced out at the 23-yard line by Marcus Robertson, but only after he picked up 26.
Boy, McNabb is sharp today. He's seeing the whole field. He wanted to go down the field, and there was great coverage down the field. Of course, he has good protection here as well. Trey Thomas working on Chad Brown, their best pass rusher. Locks him up real well. McNabb in the pocket, cool, finds the only open receiver there all the way to the sidelines. Brian Mitchell, just in his 12th year, still gives him a big lift.
That's a 7th different receiver McNabb has hit. Up top. Beautiful. Nice catch, James Thrash, touchdown, Philadelphia Eagles.
And Ken Lucas, the quarterback, never saw the ball.
Well, he beat Paul Miranda in his second start for a 64-yarder. This in his second start for a 23-yard score.
So what is that, 2 catches for Thrash and 2 touchdowns, Curt?
But not a bad average, huh?
Yeah.
Makes up for 1 for 11 last week, doesn't it?
Well, those cornerbacks are going to get picked on until they show that they can stop them. You know, they're missing their 2 starters in Ike Charlton and Sean Springs, both out with injuries.
Akers on for the extra point. And just like that, another McNabb to Thrash score, and the Eagles take the lead 17-3.
Well, this is what happened here on the play. Thrash working on Kenny Lucas on the right-hand side. Watch how quickly McNabb gets rid of this football. Well, Thrash looks frozen.
I think
it's
out of sync.
It was, out of sync. Perfect throw and catch.
Charlie Rogers just takes it in the end zone, but the point was well taken, 23 yards. James Thrash with his second touchdown reception of the day. Thrash last year as a Redskin had the 50 catches, but only had 2 touchdowns all season. So in one game, he's equaled that total.
Well, I'm talking to Jeff George last year. He thought James Thrash was his best receiver. They have offsides against the Eagles. You're going to re-kick this.
Offside on the kickoff. Number 43, 5-yard penalty. Re-kick.
Damon Moore, a little jumpy.
We don't see that very much. You know, they enforced it last year, the offsides on the kickoff, that no part of the body could be over the line when he kicked the ball.
Go ahead, Justin Timberlake, be in sync.
Well, let's try to get in sync here this time. Here we go. Kenny Lucas tries to press Thrash there at the line, never gets his hands on him. Boy, by the time he looked up, the ball was already in Thrash's hands.
All right, I got Justin Timberlake. You name another member of NSYNC.
I can't do that.
I've lost it. I got my one.
I have purchased none of those albums. I know they sold like billions.
Well, you can tell how old you are right there. You said albums. Yeah, see? You got the reel-to-reel going in the backyard, too?
Isn't Britney Spears in that group?
Yeah. No, she's dating Justin
that's
Timberlake. You got to get your People magazine so you can keep up on this.
McNabb's having too much fun, too. No,
why not?
We saw him in the hotel Friday night, and all he wanted to know was, where can I go to get out of this hotel tomorrow?
Yeah.
And you gave him a place to go down.
Well, I told him to go to the Experience Music Project, which is Paul Allen, the Seahawks owner. His little rock and roll Hall of Fame Seattle style, a lot of interactive stuff. One of the more exciting places you can go, learn the history of rock and roll. And while I was there, I learned the history of Louie Louie.
The song Louie Louie?
The song Louie Louie. I still don't know the words to it because no one does, but I learned the history of it. It started here as kind of a battle of the bands in Seattle. Now you know the rest of the story. David Akers going to try it again. This time Rogers from the 5-yard line. And that's going to take us to the 2-minute warning. Donovan McNabb and James Thrash, 2 touchdown passes, and that's the difference right now. It's 17-3 Eagles.
That's the Eagles. Ike Reese, their best special teams player on that last kickoff coverage. He pulled up on a hamstring. You're going to see him down here in a dead sprint. just grabbed the back of it, pulled him up. You hope that you pull up before the thing really gets ripped apart, because it can be a long recovery if you did.
1:57 to go in the first half. Starting from the 28. Hasselbeck. Incomplete. Couldn't connect with Ricky Waters. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have scores and highlights from around the league, and the Fox Sports Ticker will keep you updated with up-to-the-second stats, all coming up on the Visa halftime report.
Well, some pretty good games there to get things kicked off here as we resume the season, and the patriotism is everywhere. You know, I've been listening to the national anthem all my life, but it had new meaning today.
No question about it. Max Strong alone in the backfield. Hasselbeck just throws that away, incomplete.
And Matt Hasselbeck hearing his first boos in Seattle.
Well, he was being pressured by Brian Dawkins. That was an intentional throwaway.
Yeah. Well, we said that, you know, he probably wouldn't have a good percentage today, passing percentage, because he's been instructed, throw the ball away, don't take a bad play, don't feed into this Eagles frenzy of forcing these turnovers.
And so there he's doing exactly what his coach told him, throw the ball away. Instead, it doesn't matter to the fans, I guess.
But, you know, McNabb's in his third year in this offense, and Hasselbeck is playing his second game.
Hasselbeck has to get him to the 38-yard line for the first. Gonna run it, plenty of running room. Dive there for the first down.
I saw him working in practice yesterday, Curt, on the 2-minute drill. And he was pretty efficient. In fact, Mike Holmgren said that he models his team after his years in San Francisco, where you'd run a 2-minute drill, the ball would never touch the ground.
So the Eagles call the timeout, actually. At least that's the way Dick Hantak signals. And there's Ike Reese going to go to the locker room early to get that hamstring worked on.
Well, the first practice after they decided not to play the games last week in Philadelphia was the Eagles had a conditioning practice. They wanted to try to keep these guys in shape, keep those hamstrings strong, and keep the conditioning up. So that's what they did on that Friday after they announced the cancellation of last week's games.
Look at those numbers for Hasselbeck. 29 passing, 27 rushing.
Not a good sign.
That's a Donovan McNabb kind of day, you know?
Well, no.
Equal passing and rushing. Maybe not that low, but that's not what they signed Hasselbeck for $24 million to do. He is still young, but they certainly like to see a lot more completed through the air. First down from the 40. Hasselbeck gets it off. Overthrown for Ricky Waters, but there's a penalty marker on the play. Mike Caldwell was running step for step with Waters. And it's going to be holding against the Eagles.
It'll be an automatic first down.
Holding. Defense number 31. 5-yard penalty. First down.
It's called on Al Harris.
Well, Ricky got down the field against Al Harris, but watch him right here help out Waller Jones on Hugh Douglas here. Watch him drop off the shoulder right here. Boom. Then he gets into his route.
You saw the hold was called on Harris against Corin Robinson, trying to come across the middle.
And here's Corin. And it looked like he just beat him up there inside the 5 yards.
That was 2 points for a takedown. Hasselbeck rolling out. Being chased. There's another one of those intentional incompletions. Brian Dawkins right behind him.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do in this drill is take a loss of yardage right here. So throw the ball away, go to second down. It seems like Dawkins has rushed the passer more today than he has covered.
Yeah, it really does. But of course, when your quarterback has run for about as many yards as he's passed for, why not?
But the Eagles give you so much defensively. They give you a lot of different looks. They're a very good blitzing team, and they're constantly moving right up until the snap.
On second down, Matt Strong, the fullback, into Eagles territory. Mike Caldwell gets him at the 47-yard line. Gain of 7. Clock down to the 1-minute mark. Christian Fourier makes the catch and loses the football.
Yeah, that's a catch and a fumble, Curt.
And the Eagles have recovered. Damon Moore. The strong safety fell right on top of it. That ball hit Fourier in the hand. Took a couple of steps and dropped it.
And Damon Moore, who's become a real student of the game, got an interception the first week. Fumble recovery here to kill this drive by Seattle. Just aggressive in getting to the football. Here's Fourier right here. That ball's put away and it's stripped there that time by Bobby Taylor right there with the strip. Watch Bobby Taylor's left hand right here. Boom, right on top of that football, knocked it loose. Aggressive play by Taylor.
Instead of the Seahawks marching, the Eagles take over at the 36-yard line with 2 timeouts to go. 51 seconds in the first half. McNabb gets it off. Brian Mitchell gets it out of bounds.
Well, you're seeing a real Damon Moore there. Becoming a real factor at the safety position for the Eagles. The 3rd year out of Ohio State. Yeah, it's good to see football players smiling, you know, trying to put this behind him here while the game is going on. And I thought they would. I thought they'd do a good job of coming out here and concentrating on the action.
Mitchell picked up 3 yards. McNabb, pump fakes. Can't find a receiver, and he goes down. Levon Kirkland, the first guy to get him. 3rd sack of the day for the Seahawks defense.
You know, and for McNabb, he just tried to do too much with the ball that time. Just tried to hang on to it. You can see him. Here's Levon Kirkland, not a big rusher in this defense. Never quit on the play. Him and Randall at the same time sandwiched him. But I'll tell you what happened there, Curt, was that was supposed to be a 3-step drop and throw, and the lineman was setting short, and he held on to that ball, I think, too long.
Seahawks stopped the clock with 41 seconds to play. Now a 3rd and long situation for Philadelphia, so obviously Seattle hoping they get one more opportunity if they can stop them here to get the ball back. Hollis Thomas, smile, you're on candid camera.
You know, Levon got that sack there. He wears the number 99. You know, when he came here, Matt LeBounty, who was a veteran here, had the 99. He had to buy that jersey from Matt LeBounty. And the irony is that LeBounty ended up getting cut. He could have gotten the jersey for free.
It teaches you patience is a virtue. If he had waited a little while, he could have saved a little money. 3rd down for the Eagles. They need the 45. Quick handoff. Terrell Buckhalter. And Levon Kirkland in on the tackle there to stop him. Seahawks get a quick timeout. So that's their final timeout of the first half. 34 seconds to play, and they're going to get the ball back on the punt.
A smart play by Andy Reid, who learned a lot of his coaching from the guy on the other side of the field, Mike Holmgren. Kind of interesting to listen to those two guys talk about each other and the reverence. You know, Holmgren gave him his first job. They coached together at BYU, but his first job for Andy was at San Francisco State, where Mike Holmgren was at. And he got him a job there being the offensive line coach.
Well, when they were together at BYU, Reid was the graduate assistant, and Holmgren was in charge of all the graduate assistants, so he was his boss when he got his first job.
Yeah, and you know, and then when Mike left BYU to go to San Francisco, he actually wanted the job at Montana. And he got turned down at Montana, and he had to settle for the San Francisco 49ers.
Sean Landetta to Charlie Rogers from the 15. Nice job of bottling him up. 12 yards on the return after the 50-yard punt. Well, we talked about these guys together. 1982 was the year that they started their coaching careers in the same place at BYU. That's the staff, of course. LaVell Edwards, the head coach. Holmgren was in his first year as quarterback's coach.
Yeah. Andy Reid, tell me he doesn't look too young.
That's Pugsley from the Adams family. I think that's who he looks like.
Well, he's got his son down the sideline, Garrett. He looks like him. And here they are both at Green Bay. And, you know, Mike Holmgren, his first job he gave to Andy in 1992 in Green Bay was the tight ends. And Andy wasn't happy about that. He was used to having his boys, his offensive line, his 10 guys with him, and he only had 3. There's 3 tight ends.
There they are pre-game, the identical twins, identical records since they've left Green Bay.
Yeah, separated at birth, I think.
Saying how you do. Seahawks taking over from the 28-yard line, and that was trouble right away.
You know, when you're in your second start in a new offense, in a new team, sometimes it gets ugly before it's pretty.
And I think Holmgren and the Seahawks, with 18 seconds left and no more timeouts, may be better served to just let that clock run out.
You know, there's a lot of youth in this offense, Curt. You know, they just scored a touchdown against Cleveland in their first win, 3 field goals. They've got a field goal here today, but you got a rookie at left guard, you got a rookie at wide receiver, you got a second-year player at wide receiver, Daryl Jackson, and then a quarterback making his second NFL start. It takes time.
Well, the Bluebirds certainly not shy, as they're not happy with Seattle struggling on offense once again. Last week, only made it into the red zone one time. So far today, have not even gotten close to a touchdown. Donovan McNabb has been strong with 2 touchdown passes to James Trash. The Eagles lead at 17-3 at the break. Visa halftime report is next after this message and a word. Back here in Seattle, where it's been smooth sailing so far for the Philadelphia Eagles. They lead at 17-3 at halftime. Curt, Menefee, Brian Baldinger with you. And you look at this first half, and you know, it's really been a tale of 2 quarterbacks, which really goes on a lot in this league right now. The experienced guy coming out, his team winning so far.
And there's a lot of people that said McNabb experience, but he is making his 26th start in the same offense, the same system. There's a bigger comfort level there with him right now than Matt Hasselbeck. Still playing with a lot of young guys and only a second NFL start, and I think it's showing today.
It shows you how young this league is, really, when you say a guy making his 26th start at quarterback is the experienced one.
Well, it is, and then you have the experience to go pick on some weaknesses on the defense, and I think that today you're talking about 2 very young cornerbacks for Seattle, and the Eagles have done a great job of exploiting them. Both Kenny Lucas and Paul Miranda, they've gone after them down the field, and really, I'm kind of surprised Seattle not giving any coverage help from the safeties to their corners, but James Thrash running behind Paul Miranda early for his first touchdown, and really it was the exact same route that Kenny Lucas on the other side. No, and these cornerbacks know, even this young, that if you can't stop it, expect a steady diet of it. So I'd expect the Eagles to come back after it and continue to go on those edges down the field.
Especially as hot as McNabb has been, 12 of 17, 165, and the 2 touchdowns to Thrash. And you look at it in Seattle's defense right now, they're playing with these 2 young cornerbacks. One a rookie, his second start. Miranda in his 3rd year, but still his second start. But they're starting because they're missing their top 3 defensive backs in Willie Williams, Sean Springs, and Ike Charlton. Taking a look at the numbers from the first half.
Yeah, and you know, what the Eagles really wanted to do was balance their offense. You know, they only had 9 yards rushing from the running backs in their loss to the Rams. Today was 75 in the first half to go with the 140 passing. They've got great balance on offense, where right now Seattle, who behind Ricky Waters, has run the ball very, very well, but they're not getting anything from their young cornerback. And, you know, for Seattle, they haven't scored a touchdown now in the first 6 quarters of the season. You know, and the longer that goes on, the more they're going to pressure to do that.
All right, down to the field, and the 3rd member of our crew, Tim Ryan, who's with the Eagles head coach. Tim.
Thanks, Curt. Coach, looks like you guys are exploiting those young corners a little bit out there.
Well, we've got to keep it going. We've just they're battling and we're battling, and you know, we've lucked out on a couple and done okay.
Pretty happy with your defensive effort?
Well, I am. They play good, you know, all the way last game too, and we just need to keep it going, keep the intensity level up through this half here.
All right, Coach, thanks. Good luck. Back upstairs, guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Tim. And they're the 2 corners for Seattle. And you look at the offensive pressure, Reid is trying to keep on these young guys. He said, keep it going, keep it going.
Absolutely. They'll keep the pressure on it. For these guys, they've got to have that short-term memory loss. And they got to forget about the first half. They know that they're going to keep coming after. I'm sure Mike Holmgren has told them. You know, and the fact is that Lucas does have a fumble recovery today. They have knocked down a couple of balls, but you know, I think Matt Hasselbeck, we learned a lot about him in the meeting. I mean, he's a very poised, confident kid. He makes good decisions with the football. But this is all happening very, very fast. It's not August anymore. It's the regular season, and he's going at one of the most talented defenses in the league.
Well, once again, you remember that, you know, when he was with Green Bay on the practice squad, then fought his way to the number 2 slot, but with Brett Favre there, not a lot of snaps in real game action. Of course, the Eagles missing their top running threat in Deuce Staley. That sprained right shoulder done for the afternoon. But Correll Buckhalter, who's come in, the rookie out of Nebraska, has looked well in his stead.
You know, and Andy Reid this year took over dual roles
as the general manager and the head coach. People doubted that he could do it, but he was very responsible in the draft of going out and getting Correll Buckhalter, who didn't start at Nebraska. He was a backup to Dan Alexander, and the irony is Alexander was cut, and Buckhalter right now is starting for the Eagles. Dan has a good eye for talent.
Oh, Seahawks will receive first here to start the second half. David Akers. Charlie Rogers in his end zone. Hit right at the 20-yard line by Tim Houck and Mike Caldwell. And a lot of hard hitting going on. Unfortunately for Philadelphia, they're taking the brunt of it so far.
Yeah, you know, a couple of key players right here. Starting left guard, running back out. Depth is coming through. Doug Brzezinski at left guard right now. Ike Reese here is a very good special team player, and probably the most talented linebacker, Anthony Simmons, right now with a troubled toe. So we'll see what his status is as when the defense comes on the field.
Seahawks begin at the 19-yard line. Both Sean Alexander and Ricky Waters in right now. Waters spread out to the right. And it's Alexander. Nothing more than 2 yards on that one. Jeremiah Trotter stopped him right at the 21.
You know, and for these Eagles defenders right now to come out here up 17-3, you know, to play with the lead, it's a little bit more comforting, especially on the road. You take a few more chances. You know, you go for the ball a little bit more. You try and pile things on. You keep the intensity up.
Ricky Waters now in the eye on second down. Make the handoff to him. Hasselbeck under pressure, escapes, but not for long. Jeremiah Trotter. Sack number 4 for the Philadelphia defense.
And the Pro Bowl middle linebacker is doing exactly what Andy Reid said. He's being relentless, staying after it, and going after the quarterback. There's right here in the line, going up against Robbie Tobeck, one-on-one with the center. Kind of just spins out of it. And Hasselbeck was flushed from the ends. Corey Simon and Hugh Douglas flushing him, and Trotter is the benefactor of it all. Trotter saying how emotional he was when he found out he was going to be going to the Pro Bowl last year. Looked down and cried.
Ricky Waters on third down. Not even close. A 3-yard pickup. They needed 21. So it'll be a 3 and out to start the second half, and once again the fans unhappy.
Very unhappy with that, but the last thing you want to do is put the quarterback, the young quarterback right now in that situation of 3rd and long, forcing him to make a play.
Ryan Mitchell back to take the punt for the Jeff Eagles. From the 45. Right to the midfield strike. 42 yards on the punt, 5 on the return, and a penalty marker.
Well, the regular referees are back, aren't they?
Yeah, you can tell. Last week, Seattle called for only 1 penalty. Philadelphia called for only 2.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of them on special teams. It seems like that's where most of the flags come during the special teams play. Of course, the blocking is totally different in special teams. You're trying to block covering a much greater area than you are, you know, on the offensive and defensive lines.
Illegal into the hands during the return, number 31. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's Al Harris called for the 8th penalty of the game. Eagles take over for the first time here in the second half, up by 2 scores.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper makes the world taste better.
The red, white, and blue back in fashion. Good to see. There you see it on the back of the players' helmets. All NFL teams will carry it on the back of their helmet for the rest of this season.
Like I said, Curt, when that national anthem gets sung every single Sunday now from now on, it'll have new meaning.
Look at the difference on first down between these two teams. Eagles starting at the 37-yard line. Correll Buckhalter with the carry. And Anthony Simmons back in the ball game with that injured toe and all back at linebacker.
You saw Todd Pinkston on a fake reverse that time. You're seeing this around the league right now, especially in these West Coast style offenses. You see a fake reverse right here to Todd Pinkston. It's going to hold this backside end. It freezes him for just a second where they don't have to block him. So if Buckhalter wants to cut back, there's an alleyway.
2-yard pickup. Buckhalter again.
2-yard pickup. Chad Brown this time.
Chad Brown got off to that strong start with a couple of sacks early, but it's kind of been contained so far as the Eagles have gone for the big plays.
Yeah, Chad Brown is a really, really good player. People in the NFC East probably hasn't heard a lot about him. But the Seahawks will be in the NFC West next year, and they'll play the Eagles again. So, for Eagle fans out there, take a look at some of these guys because they'll be on the schedule next year as they changed up the divisions.
3rd down for the Eagles. They've got to get it to the 47 for the first. Under pressure. McNabb gets rid of it. Incomplete. Todd Pinkston, the intended receiver. Michael Sinclair was bringing the heat, though, on McNabb.
Yeah, both Sinclair and Anthony Simmons came after McNabb. And it's just amazing how he gets out of the grasp of, defensive ends and linebackers in this league. The longer he holds the ball, for whatever reason, being chased here by Sinclair, getting away from Simmons, the longer he has for a chance to find a receiver, for that defense to break down. That's an awfully hard throw going to his left, trying to get that arm cocked.
First 3 and out of the day for Philadelphia. Sean Landeta into punt. That's Charlie Rogers. Gonna let it bounce and taken right at the 4, and he's forced out of bounds immediately by Damon Douglas. 55 yards on the punt from Landeta. It's still 17-3.
Average starting field position today, I think, has been a big factor. Seattle starting from their own 20-yard line, while the Eagles have started from their own 17, while the Eagles have started from their 32, and they start here inside the 5.
Right at the 4-yard line. Quick pass to try and get out of there, complete to Curt Robinson, and he breaks a tackle, makes it out to the 7-yard line before Brian Dawkins wrestles him to the ground.
Well, that's a guy that they would like to get involved in the offense a little bit more.
This fall, baseball's postseason unfolds right here on Fox. First 8 of baseball's best battle it out in the American and National League Division Series on both Fox and Fox Family. Then follow the drama of the ALCS, the NLCS, and everything involved in baseball, all the way to the crowning of the 2000 World Series champs, as baseball postseason airs exclusively right here on the Fox networks. From the 7-yard line, Hasselbeck, that ball batted, incomplete. Well, that came close. Hollis Thomas hit it, and it came close to going right back to Hugh Douglas.
Getting good penetration in the middle from Hollis Thomas and Corey Simon both. Hasselbeck here, the nice thing that Holmgren likes about him is he doesn't take his eyes off down the field under pressure.
There's a big smile from the big fella. One of the good stories in this league.
Yeah, one of those.
Not drafted out of Northern Illinois 4 years ago, and he literally got his way into the league. Sent tapes out to all 30 teams, and Philadelphia invited him to camp. On 3rd down, they need the 14-yard line. Not going to get it. Brandon Whiting. That's another sack for the Eagles defense, number 5 on the day.
And Curt, they got a great jump here on the snap. Looks like Hugh Douglas is almost off sides here. You're going to see Douglas rushing from the outside here. He gets a good jump. And then Brandon Whiting from this side. Never allowed Hasselbeck to step up into the pocket. Pressure was on him.
That's the 2nd sack of the afternoon from Whiting.
Jeff Eagles on the very back of that end zone line.
Not much room for error. Punting it to Brian Mitchell. Just across midfield. Oh, plenty of running room. Way into Seattle territory. Finally brought down to the 24-yard line. 27 yards on the return.
And Brian Mitchell just keeps adding on to career yards. I mean, 3rd all-time, and boy, the C's just opened up that time. Took advantage of it as huge opening. Mike Holmgren's not happy because he's one of the few coaches in the league that has a special teams coordinator, Pete Rodriguez, and a special teams coach. Well, Jeff Eagles thought he was going to be the safety. He didn't really want to put any wood down on Mitchell.
Well, you talked about those numbers by Brian Mitchell. He's coming into this afternoon. Third all-time in total yards in NFL history. Number 1 as far as return yards go. Short field to work with from the 24-yard line. And back, Chad Brown. Stop that end around by James Thrash.
Well, I told you that on the last series that the Eagles like that end around motion to hold the backside defensive end. This time it's Chad Brown. Look at him. He plays with his shoulders square, never takes his eyes off the field. Very disciplined player. And the result is a tackle for a loss.
4-yard loss from the 28. McNabb, little high for Thrash, incomplete.
I got a little high, but a little hot too. Oh, that ball came out, I mean, on fire. Not like Fox used to have that puck that had like the glow with
puck,
it.
right. There should have been one at the tail of the ball.
I think I saw like flames coming out of this football. I mean, he wanted to get this ball in a hurry. Huh. Yeah, humped it. Going after Lucas that time. A little high.
So this is going to be a big defensive play for the Seahawks. Eagles have to get it to the 14-yard line for the first. And McNabb's under pressure again. Marcus Bell with the sack this time. Lamar King in there also. But that's the 5th sack for the Seattle defense.
Yeah, the Seahawks overloaded the right side of the Eagles that time. Brought one more rush than they can handle. Here's Marcus Bell. He's unaccounted for here. McNabb never feels him. Of course, the pressure from Lamar King helped out in it as well.
So David Akers on to attempt the field goal from 49 yards out. He's already made a 48-yarder today, and this one hooks. Too much, no good. What a stand by the Seattle defense. Eagles take over the 24-yard line. They back him up 7 yards, and Akers misses the kick.
Defense feels pretty good about that last defensive stop. Eagles had good field position, missed the field goal. Look at the reaction. I mean, the defense right now has just created a spark for this football team. First of all, they've given them good field position, and then they took points off the board from the Eagles. And it's time for this offense right here to come, to wake up.
Their best starting field position of the day from the 39. Ricky Waters. Gain of 4. Jeremiah Trotter in on the tackle. But it's been a struggle for the Seahawks so far. That's their first 8 possessions. A lot of punts, a field goal, and a fumble.
Look at that field position that they had. They haven't had much to work with. And then just the one 13-play drive is the only one that were able to hold on to the football. Resulted in just a field goal.
Seahawks still looking for their first touchdown of the 2001 season. Week 1 in Cleveland with 3 field goals. Ricky Waters in motion. Over the middle, too much, incomplete for Waters. Down to Los Angeles and JB for another NFL update.
Hey, Curt, still an embarrassment of riches in terms of weapons that Kurt Warner has to go to. Who does he find here? Azakim, a 25-yard strike. St. Louis has now retaken the lead over San Francisco by the score of 19-16. Kurt and Brian.
JB, I hate to tell you, I don't think NFL offenses get embarrassed about much when they've got that much talent. There you see the big numbers, both quarterbacks scoring over the 300-yard mark in week 1. Both those guys, Pro Bowlers last year.
And both those quarterbacks won in overtime as well in week 1.
Seahawks need the 49 on 3rd down. Hasselbeck keeps it. Not going to get there. Brian Dawkins with the tackle. So the Eagles defense responds with a nice stand of their own.
Yeah, they feel just as good as that Seattle defense did coming off that on the last series.
If you're Mike Holmgren, what has to bother you the most is they just can't sustain drives. They're not even getting close to getting an opportunity to score.
Well, the ball isn't getting in any of the wide receivers' hands, and I was just watching the Eagle defenders, Troy Vince and Bobby Taylor, playing right up on those wide receivers, not letting them breathe.
Jeff Eagles on to punt to Brian Mitchell. That came close to being blocked. Mitchell calls for the fair catch right at the 16-yard line. Barry Gardner came about as close as you can get to that one without touching it. Eagles still on top by 2 touchdowns.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Taco Bell's new chicken quesadilla. By Best Buy, for the latest technology, turn on the fun at Best Buy. By Visa, it's everywhere NFL fans want to be. And by Autotrader.com, biggest, best used car site on the planet.
Now the Space Needle in Seattle, one of the easily identifiable landmarks. When you see the Space Needle, you think Seattle. McNabb, that's to James Thrash. Wow, how about that? James Thrash with a catch that wasn't a touchdown, getting out to the 21-yard line for a gain of 5.
You know, we're talking about the two coaches, Andy Reid, Mike Holmgren, separated at birth. You know, they both tutored with each other. I mean, they coach exactly alike. They look alike on the sidelines. They both got their big charts. You know, right now, Holmgren's on offense, so he's got his nose into the chart. Andy Reid is probably keeping everybody sharp on his side. He's got his chart in his left hand.
We talked about the identical twins having the identical records since being head coaches with these respective teams. McNabb to the air, broken up nicely by Paul Miranda. Another pass intended for Thrash.
Well, you know, Mike Holmgren and his only protege in this league isn't Andy Reid. All these other guys here were with Mike Holmgren in Green Bay. I mean, look at Marty Ahere's in Detroit, and Dick Duran in Chicago. You got Mariucci in San Francisco, Sherman in Green Bay, and then the assistant, the coordinators as well. Ray Rhodes, who was the head coach in both Green Bay and Philadelphia.
It used to be we talked about the Walsh tree. Now it's the Holmgren tree. Yeah. And that's the Baldy tree, I think, right there. On 3rd down, they need the 26-yard line. Corral Buckhalter not going to get it.
Reggie Tongue with the stop. Yeah, so it's another
3 and out because of this Seattle defense.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Buckhalter right here hasn't gotten a lot of reps. He missed his pulling guard right here. Tremaine Mayberry does a great job of coming around and logging the outside. He should have taken that ball wide rather than turn it in to the meat of that defense.
Charlie Rogers, who's a good return man, to take it from Landetta. Backs him up. Wow. From the 19. Ike Reese. 59 yards on the punt by Landetta.
One of the most amazing things about this tragic
10, 12 days that we've had has been the spirit of giving that you've seen all over this country. And you see NFL players all around America taking part, giving back to their communities. A lot of players making financial donations, but a lot of teams getting together like the Atlanta Falcons here, playing a flag football game and raising money through donations with their fans.
We're better people today than we were 2 weeks ago. And Andy Reid making the donations with Mayor Street in Philadelphia a couple weeks ago. Because we're more united, Curt. You know, I think we're less petty, we're more united, and we've mourned together, you know, as a country and as a group, individually.
And as we look ahead, you know, we talk about the military being called up and all the bases here in Seattle. Let us not forget the ones in the Philadelphia area, like Fort Dix and Dover Air Force Base and McGuire Air Force Base, Fort Monmouth. All those guys watching today as well. There's a holding penalty on the return, so the Seahawks begin from the 10-yard line. Ricky Waters had a step on Bobby Taylor, but they couldn't make the connection.
Yeah, you saw where the ball ended up, too. 5 yards out of bounds. Never gave Ricky a chance.
Eagles defense has been maybe too much for the young guy to take. Seattle trying to get something going with 6:13 left to go in the third quarter. And Hasselbeck not getting the team in scoring territory just yet. So on 2nd down, they give it to the veteran Ricky Waters. Waters only picks up a yard.
You know, part of the problem for Hasselbeck is just the amount of pressure that he's been under today, the times he's been hit. For a young guy who's never been hit, you know, you got to remember now, you play in August and you're out there and you're phenomenal in August in preseason. These kind of things haven't started adding up.
Well, think of it. His first NFL start last week, he was sacked 5 times, so maybe a little gun shy?
Well, this defense bothered the heck out of Curt Warner in week 1. You know, and that's a guy that has seen a whole lot and been the MVP of this league.
Seahawks with 4 receivers in. They get a quick pass to one of them. Bobby Ingram gets the first down. Nice 9-yard pickup.
You know, Bobby Ingram was a great pickup here for Seattle a couple of weeks ago. He's let go by Chicago, and Holmgren was just combing the wires every day looking for a veteran receiver that has been through the fire, that can help out with the young quarterback and young receivers. Ingram is a guy that understands defenses, where the dead spots are, and got their first down of the second half for Seattle.
Right at the 20-yard line. The pitch. Ricky Waters. 9 more. Corey Simon with the tackle.
Well, if they're going to run the ball, that's the side they want to go to. Behind Waller Jones, who did a good job on Hugh Douglas that time. And they got a little interference out there running in front of him. You'll see Hugh Douglas right here, and Waller Jones, he takes him inside. Good kick-out block on Damon Moore, and Ricky's eyes never leave downfield.
Second and short. Waters the deep man in the eye. Quick pass out to his right. Too low for Gordon Robinson. Incomplete.
Well, these Seattle fans have heard a lot about Matt Hasselbeck. You know, he's been pumped up quite a bit. They gave him a big contract, $24 million, and they're locked into him. So you got to grow with him.
Well, it's not time to give up on the guy after a quarter and a game in 3 quarters.
Nothing like that. But those are the kind of plays that you'd like to at least see him complete, because those are confidence builders. You got Gordon Robinson all alone outside, a chance to pick up the first down.
Waters alone in the backfield. 4 receivers in. Hasselbeck under pressure, escapes. Got some time. Incomplete for Darrell Jackson, who was open. Boy, Jackson had beaten Rashard Cook. And once again, Hasselbeck misses the open receiver.
Well, you know, Hasselbeck missed the throw to Darrell Jackson, but he's got to remember now, there's a lot for a young kid to remember. It was 3rd and less than 3, and when he gets outside here, he could have easily just pulled this ball down right there and run for it.
So Jeff Fiegel's on the punt again to Brian Mitchell. That one bounces out of bounds. They'll spot it right at the 37-yard line. On Fox tonight, get ready to feel the rush. Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker star in the box office hit that started it all. It's the world broadcast premiere of Rush Hour tonight at 8, 7 Central, right here on Fox. Curt, Menefee, Brian Baldinger with you from Seattle, the shores of Lake Washington, where the Eagles have a 17-3 lead on the Seattle Seahawks.
It's so frustrating for the offensive line there, who's a talented bunch, to get any kind of rhythm when you're not on the field, to get a feel for the defense and the changes.
On first down, Pharrell Buckhalter, Chad Brown.
And outside of the 2 touchdown passes that the young cornerbacks gave up, the middle part of this defense has played pretty well. Chad Brown just squeezing it on the outside here, unblocked. He's the free man in that defense. And a lot of blue jerseys coming to finish. This defense has played well here in this 3rd quarter.
They pick up a yard. McNabb gets it off. Incomplete. It's in the direction of James Thrash, but overthrown.
Yeah, and there it is. Last 3 drives, all these Eagles have 4 yards offense in the 3rd quarter. And that's not going to make Andy Reid happy at all, regardless of the score. He wanted them to come out of the tunnel and continue to execute like they did in the first half. But I think what they've really done here in Seattle is they've concentrated on stopping the run first. And they've done that. They've taken it away, and then they put pressure on McNabb.
Well, it's a 3rd and long for the Seahawks, or pardon me, for the Eagles.
They need the 47-yard line for the first down. McNabb flushed out and brought down. Sack number 6 for the Seahawk defense, Michael Sinclair and John Randall.
They're just winning one-on-one battles up front. Yeah, they come with the blitz right here. Kirkland comes along with Chad Brown, but they just came right through the middle of the line. John Randall came right through Hank Fraley and Doug Brzezinski.
Landetta. Charlie Rogers. Gets it around the end. Rogers forced out of bounds and a penalty flag on the play.
Yeah, this is going to come back again.
Rashard Cook was the guy who forced him out.
We have a clip in the back here, Curt. Really a stupid play. How many special team penalties have we seen on Seattle today? Probably the best special teams in the league last year, weren't they, Curt?
Well, 2 out of the last 3 years, they've been the #1 special teams unit, in the top 5 the other year. But this certainly won't make Pete Rodriguez, the special teams coordinator, happy. It's going to negate a nice 23-yard return by Charlie Rogers.
Holding, number 28, during the return. Penalty is declined. Illegal block in the back. Number 19 will penalize 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down, Seattle.
Well, the one that's taken is on Fabian Bones, and that's his second special team penalty of the day.
He's working on William Hampton down the field here. Now watch where he puts
the head. If you see the numbers, I mean, just the right shoulder right into the 4. I mean, it's just a... And they give a lot of leeway on that particular block, the officials do. I mean, as long as you put the head into the side, you're usually okay. But when you throw the arm right into the 4, I mean, that's what they're looking at. And that's the second penalty today. And that's Pete Rodriguez, the special teams coordinator. They can't believe it.
So the Seahawks will begin from the 15-yard line, trailing at 17-3. Play action. Hasselbeck floats it, almost picked off by Brian Dawkins. Well, this fall, baseball's postseason unfolds right here on Fox. First, it's 8 of baseball's best battling it out in the American and National League Division Series on both Fox and Fox Family. Then follow the drama of the ALCS, the NLCS, all the way to the crowning of the 2001 World Series champion as baseball's postseason airs exclusively right here on the Fox network. Be a part of history as baseball's postseason comes to Fox beginning October 9th.
And that's where the offense has been in Seattle, inside Safeco Field. They're the Mariners lighting it up this year.
That's been about it. Ricky Waters brought down by Carlos Evans, gain of 5. Penalty flag on the play.
It looks like it's going to be a defensive holding against the
way
Eagles.
downfield, isn't it?
Yeah.
Decent hands, defense, number 31. Hands in the face, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's called on Al Harris. So the Seahawks can't get their offense in motion. Eagles defense kind of helping them with the 3rd penalty of the game against Harris.
Andy can't stand it. They had a chance to really put the Seattle offense in the hole. Put them into a 3rd and long. Make no mistake about it. Both these coaches, you know, want to win for reasons outside of just the record. I mean, both coaches have been cranky all week, want to beat the guy that, you know, that brought them along in this business.
Hasselbeck on first down. Flushed out of the pocket. Ricky Waters with the grab. Pickup of 2. Mike Caldwell on the tackle. Darwin Walker had the pressure on him, and that's what you've seen a lot of by this Eagles defense. Whether or not they get to him, it seems like he has to get out of the pocket nearly every time.
Well, what we haven't seen at all is any sort of downfield throws from Hasselbeck to his wide receivers, and that's because these Eagle cornerbacks right now are playing tight man-to-man defense. They're not letting these receivers off the line of scrimmage. Bobby Taylor on one side, Troy Vincent on the other, has been locking these guys up.
Seahawks go with 4 wide receivers, but they pitch it to Ricky Waters. Fights through the hole. Pick up a 5. Chad Brown, who's had a busy day, showing the suffering of a headache, looks like. He's got the ice bag on his forehead.
Yeah, I think he has a headache from the Seattle offense. I think that's what's been giving him the headache. Chad and the defense have been playing fine in the second half. But right now, for this offense here, you never know when things can start to click, and this is a third down situation. They haven't been able to convert many of them here, especially in the second half. That's one they got to get.
They've got across the 35. Hasselbeck doesn't do it. Corey Simon catches him for a yard loss, so that'll be a sack.
You're not going to get away from Corey Simon in the middle. He's just too good laterally and too fast. Corey Simon working right here, working against Chris Gray. Good penetration, and then falls right off. And he's not going to let Hasselbeck out of the grasp.
5 sacks on Hasselbeck week 1, 6 today.
You know, those are the kind of plays, Curt, in preseason in August you probably get away with because you're not going against the first-team defense like that. Not in the regular season.
Jeff Fiegel's punt short to Brian Mitchell. Can't bring it outside. Heath Evans with the tackle. Well, besides the head coaches, one thing these two teams have in common, they're both getting new stadiums.
And both happy for it. That's in South Philadelphia right there. That's the old vet right here.
And that's a couple of years away from completion.
Yeah.
The Seahawks next season will be moving into their brand new facility right next to Safeco Field where the Mariners play. And both these teams also with this new kind of turf going on, in Philadelphia and here in Seattle. And we were down on the field beforehand. Players from Philadelphia, I think, prefer the turf here.
Well, they're playing the game at least.
That makes a difference, huh? Eagles start from the 26.
Marcus Robertson with the tackle.
Well, the only thing that the Seattle team hasn't done here in the third quarter is force a turnover. Everything else, they've locked up this Eagle offense. Of course, now I think the Eagles offense hasn't taken nearly as many chances. They haven't gone down the field at all.
Yeah, they've reined it in as well.
Yeah, I mean, James Thrash hasn't, really pressured these cornerbacks at all here. Kind of taking a little air out of the ball for McNabb and sitting on that great defensive effort right now.
And nursing the 17-3 lead. Buckhalter again. Tripped up by Ken Lucas.
He's got explosion now. And he's got, Andy Reid said the kid has real speed. And the next step to Buckhalter's game right now is to be able to break that one. Break that tackle down the field and then make the big run.
Well, with Deuce Staley on the sideline with a sprained shoulder, he's going to get plenty of opportunity as we go to the fourth quarter. Eagles on top, 17-3. Back in Seattle for the fourth quarter, Seahawks trailing 17-3. Curt Menefee, Brian Baldinger with you from Husky Stadium. The 3rd and 2 situation for the Eagles. McNabb up top. What a one-handed catch by James Thrash.
Looking more and more like the Eagles' #1 receiver after this afternoon.
He has been the star of the day. A 64-yard touchdown reception, one from 23 yards away, and that's sweet one-hander.
Working on Paul Miranda here. Miranda's in great coverage. He looks exactly what he's supposed to. Unfortunately, it was already in Thrash's right arm. And that was the Eagles' first down of the second half.
26 yards on the pass. Thrash now 5 catches, 122 yards on the day. Goes back to Thrash again. We go back to Los Angeles and JP for another game break.
Hey, Curt, that Rams engine has some top-grade oil in it now. Take a look at Warner dropping back and hooking up with Isaac Bruce with a little hook route there. He turns it into a 39-yard pass play for a touchdown. Rams comfortably out in front, 30-16 in the fourth. Back to Curt and Brian.
Boy, that's a connection the Eagles fans saw at the end of the game last week.
That cost him in overtime a big pass to Isaac Bruce and Kurt Warner. here in Seattle on 2nd and 7. McNabb incomplete. Todd Pinkston, the intended receiver.
McNabb hasn't had to do too much here in the second half. The defense has been taking it to him, and that man right there, you know, I talked to him during the week, and he wasn't frustrated by the fact that he only had one catch in the opening week. He said he was open, you know, they're still trying to find timing between each other, between both him and McNabb. And they found it today.
On 3rd down, they need the 31 for the first. Thrash again. 1st down again. Down to the 30-yard line. Ken Lucas with the tackle.
Well, Donovan McNabb sees this defense every day in practice, and Seattle came after him on this 3rd down, and he handled it well. Watch the blitz here. Simmons, Chad Brown right here. They all go after him. They get right in his face, Marcus Bell, and that ball is thrown on timing. McNabb stayed in there. He took the hit, looked down the barrel of a gun, and delivered it.
James Thrash now with a career-high 133 yards. On 1st down, McNabb. Bullet pass, Chad Lewis. That's the tight end's first catch of the day.
And you know, the thing is, on this drive, Seattle was playing very good defense.
Yeah, they were.
And McNabb is beating them right now with speed of decision and accuracy.
Well, he's hit 8 different receivers along the way, so he's spread the ball out. They can't really concentrate on Thrash or one guy, even though Thrash is having a big day.
And that man, Chad Brown, who's an excellent pass rusher, when the ball is out that quickly, it nullifies his pass rush.
McNabb out of the backfield. Terrell Buckhalter brought down to the open field by Levon Kirkland.
No, we don't know how bad that injury to Deuce Staley is. If it keeps him out, Buckhalter, as I say that, gets up limping. And I think there's a safety net there. He's caught the ball real well today, shown good explosion. Good hands.
Well, there you see Deuce Staley injured that thing in the 1st quarter and has been on the sideline since with the sprain.
Well, before last year's Liz Frank injury, really hasn't had many injuries at all in his NFL career.
3rd and 5. McNabb with another bullet right at the 20-yard line. James Thrash is going to be close to the 1st down marker.
You know, and I think sometimes people really get the misconception of McNabb when they call him a scrambling quarterback, a running quarterback.
Well, he hates that.
Yeah, he hates it. He wants to be a pure pocket quarterback with unusual athletic ability. And right now, he's beating Seattle from inside the pocket.
He does what is required of him in this offense. And I think last year, you know, that was kind of the conception of him coming out of college, out of Syracuse. And then last year was fueled because Deuce Staley was injured. And he had to run the ball.
Well, that wasn't the offense in Syracuse. No, he's a guy that started 46 games in Syracuse, and you can't substitute that kind of experience. So he came in with a great feel for the position. But Andy, who was the quarterback coach in Green Bay with Brett Favre, has a good feel for quarterbacks. And that's an unusual situation all by itself. Andy Reid going from coaching the offensive line to quarterbacks.
After the 1st down at the 20. Brian Mitchell now in at running back. He spins his way for a 3-yard pickup.
Levon Kirkland on the tackle.
You know, Andy is the one that drafted Donovan McNabb 3 years ago.
The first draft pick he ever had.
First draft pick. And remember, that was the year that all those quarterbacks came out. Culpepper came out, and McNabb, and all those Keely Smith.
Tim Couch number 1, McNabb number 2.
And that was his first big decision as a head coach. But remember, when he was elevated to that position coach in Green Bay, Mike Holmgren had never hired anybody else that hadn't played the position to coach quarterbacks. He was the first non-quarterback to coach because he has such a good rapport with players.
Eagles going with the empty backfield. McNabb low for Brian Mitchell, incomplete.
One thing I do notice from Donovan McNabb, and this is not unusual for young quarterbacks, is he throws the ball a lot different in practice. He throws it a little softer or more catchable ball. And then, you know, he gets into a game and the adrenaline really starts to pump. He throws it with a lot more hot sauce. And I think there's got to be a consistency there, you know, from practice to the games a little bit more, but it's coming.
third down for the Eagles. They need the 10-yard line. McNabb, another completion. May Brown gets the first down and then some. Down to the 6-yard line, the 9th different receiver McNabb has hit today. 11 yards on the play.
And Nate Brown was looking for that first touchdown. He went airborne from about the 6.
He's trying. He's never scored one.
No. But he's coming on to be a good third down receiver, though. Good slot receiver. Look at him take off here. He's smelling that goal line.
Sharp step out right there.
Yeah.
But it's funny, you mentioned Nate Brown in his 3rd season. That's the longest tenure with Philadelphia of any of their wide receivers. It shows you how young they are.
He probably has the best hands on the team.
13th play of the drive. Shovel pass.
Chad Lewis. And that's his first catch of the day. Second, he had one a couple plays ago.
Right, second catch. That was the leading receiver here in Philadelphia last year. You know, last year, Chad Lewis was a great story because he was a guy that was cut by the Eagles. He was cut by St. Louis. You know, and then he ends up making the Pro Bowl. Heck, I saw him over there in Hawaii at the Pro Bowl. He was the happiest guy there. He flew all his brothers over there. Flew his position coach over there, Pat Shermer.
There you see this drive was started on the 25-yard line. Pass dominated. Right now it's on the 3-yard line.
Oh, he's got him.
Into the end zone, broken up. Boy, he was going for Chad Lewis, but Marcus Robertson knocked it down.
Well, Chad Lewis went for right there. Chad Lewis was open in the middle of the field. McNabb was going for him, but he had Cecil Martin, the fullback, wide open in the middle. You can see Martin right here in the middle of the field, wide open. But he went for last year's favorite receiver, Chad Lewis.
Zipped it right past Martin, didn't he? 3rd and goal from the 3. Play action. Into the end zone. Bobbled and dropped. May Brown. Ike Charlton all over him as he had the pass come his way, but May Brown thinking touchdown once again, still doesn't have that first.
Ike Charlton coming back from an injury. The nickel cover man right there. Good job with that left hand. Nice timing on that to be able to get that ball away and finish the play.
So it'll be a 21-yard field goal attempt by David Akers. Missed one from 49 yards out the last time, but that's good. First points in the second half. The Eagles get a field goal on a drive that started at their 25. They're up 23.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Lexus and their passionate pursuit of perfection. By Don't Say a Word, starring Michael Douglas, Friday only in theaters. By Domino's Pizza. Get the door, it's Domino's. And by Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular.
Well, the American flag everywhere. We mentioned all the military bases. We also want to make sure we say hi to the men and women at the U.S. Naval Academy and in West Point who are watching today's game. Charlie Rogers brings it out to the 29-yard line. Seahawks will begin from there, trailing it 20-3. Mike Holmgren, Seattle Seahawks in a 20-3 hole. 9:19 left to go in the fourth quarter here in Seattle. That's Uncle Sam's cousin that he doesn't talk about, I think.
He's not looking happy through all the pain.
Seahawks starting from the 29-yard line. Hasselbeck. Going deep. Darrell Jackson tried to make the adjustment but couldn't. Wheel tried to complete a pass to JB for another game break.
Hey, Curt, San Francisco 3 of 3 on 4th down conversions, including this 4th and 4 here. Jeff Garcia hooks up with Terry Jackson. Take a look at Jackson. Good second effort here as he scores a TD. It is now a 30-23 ball game in the 4th. Back to Curt and Brian.
Wow. Well, San Francisco converting, Seattle unable to do that and keep drives going today.
Yeah, and for you Seahawks fans, remember Jeff Garcia struggled the way Matt Hasselbeck did in his first year in that offense in San Francisco.
He was actually benched 5 games into it for another 5. Boy, right now Matt Hasselbeck probably wishes he were on the bench. Derek Burgess, the 3rd-round pick out of Mississippi with his first NFL sack.
Yeah, and for Mike Holmgren, it's just been a bad week all the way around. First of all, he's losing to a guy that was basically getting him coffee 10 years ago in Green Bay. And then, you know, his brother-in-law shows up, and his wife gives his car to his brother-in-law, makes him take his Harley-Davidson to work in the rain the other day, not worried about his safety. You know, and there's growing pains with a young quarterback and a young offense.
Another 3rd and long for the Seahawks. They need the 39-yard line and don't get there. Ricky Waters on the incompletion. And it's another 3 and out for Seattle.
You know, when they talk about football players having to be tough, you got to be mentally tough too. I mean, Matt Hasselbeck has to shake this off here. I mean, you know, right now, Hollis Thomas and the defense is feasting, and it's fun out there for him. It ain't fun for anybody on the other side.
5 3 and outs for the Seahawks. Brian Mitchell, the deep man again, to take the punt from Jeff Fiegels.
There it is. Now get out of bounds. Now get out of bounds.
At the 25. Fabian Bones with the tackle. 52 yards on the punt, 12 on the return. Eagles cruising right now. Curt Menefee, Brian Baldinger with you. 8.5 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter. Eagles on top of the Seahawks, 20-3. Week 2, National Football League action. Week 1 of our return to the football field. Eagles start at the 38-yard line. Corral Buckhalter. Buckhalter picks up 7 yards. We pick up James Brown for another game break.
Hey, Curt, the Rams were looking awfully good again on the drive here. Take a look at Kurt Warner going up top, threads this one nicely to Isaac Bruce, but Jason Webster smacks the ball loose. It's recovered by San Francisco's Lance Schulters. San Francisco now inside the 25. Under 10 to play in that game in the 4th period of play. Back to Curt and Brian. Time permitting, we'll take you guys to that game.
All right, JB, 7:58 left to play here in Seattle. Corral Buckhalter stopped after the yard pickup.
A game with scoring and offense, huh?
We're halfway there.
Hey, some great defense being played and a great offensive day by that man, James Thrash, here today. 8 catches, 147 total yards from Thrash, 138 receiving, 9 on the reverse, and over half the team's yards today. Normally, that's McNabb's job.
Yeah.
You know, accumulate over half of the team's offense. But he's sharing the ball pretty well today.
Well, the Eagles have to be happy. Last week, Pinkston received 99 yards. And this week, 138 from Thrash. McNabb up top. That way again, Thrash gets more. Down to the 36-yard line, beating Ken Lucas.
Well, and James Thrash has been the man today, as he was brought here to be the #1 receiver. Beat Paul Miranda early for the first touchdown of the day, and Kenny Lucas the second time. A couple key 3rd down conversions. Really beating him all over the place, in the middle of the field, out on the edge, into the end zone. Beating tight press coverage, keeping his feet in bounds. It's really been a one-man show.
157 yards receiving for Thrash. On 1st down, Buckhalter. Hit hard at the line of scrimmage and driven backwards. LeVon Kirkland.
It's time right now for Andy Reid just to really, what he calls, feed the offensive line. He wants to give the ball to his backs here, Buckhalter, Cecil Martin, and let those offensive linemen work. That man right there, Hank Fraley, making his 2nd NFL start. He just had his jersey retired at Robert Morris College yesterday in Pittsburgh. Of course, he couldn't be there, so his parents were there for it. And I tell you, he's really come a long ways. He was a free agent cut by Pittsburgh last year. Picked up by the Eagles last year, was on the team all year, and now starting at center in place of Bubba Miller.
They get it to Buckhalter. Chad Eaton on the tackle.
You know, when you look at him, he looks like one of Andy Reid's kind of guys. In fact, he said that when he puts his helmet on, he looks like his second son.
How big is that kid?
No, he's got a lot of skin coming out of the helmet and then coming off the sides here, too. You know, and Andy Reid kind of, you know, like Andy is separated from Mike Holmgren at birth, but they sort of have the same shape. And Andy today isn't wearing that striped shirt that he hates. It doesn't look like a big hula hoop.
How are you getting back to Philadelphia? You're not talking to him, are you? McNabb on 3rd and long. Pass complete, but not enough for the first down. James Thrash with another catch. We talked about Thrash's big day.
Well, you know, Curt, it looks like an offense today. It doesn't look like it has to be all the magical Donovan McNabb. The ball spread around. The offensive line has opened up some holes. We've seen the backup running back, Correll Buckhalter, run the ball well.
Well, Thrash has 165 yards receiving. Do you know the last time the Eagles had a 150-yard receiver?
Probably a guy named Freddie Barnett. Just guessing, back in probably 1994.
You just pull these things off the top of your head.
No.
You're amazing today.
I had too much free time last week.
I was going to call you Karnak. 2 tight ends in. They're going for it on 4th down. And they get the first down and then some. Correll Buckhalter.
Touchdown.
He stepped out of bounds right at the 3-yard line. 26 yards on the pass play.
We're seeing good hands on Correll Buckhalter. You see right here, I mean, just going to come out of the backfield and just circle here. Pretty good creativity on the fake reverse. You've seen this, the speed and explosion. Again, a young player wanting to get to the end zone for his first time. Looked like Nate Brown the series before trying to get in there.
1st and goal from the 3. McNabb on the draw. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Philadelphia Eagles. First rushing touchdown of the season. He had 6 last year.
You know, he's beaten this Seattle defense today with his arm, and he just showed you that he still has those wonderful athletic legs as well, too.
David Akers on for the extra point. Eagles riding the arm of McNabb early. This time it's his feet. It's now 27-3.
You know, the regular officials are back, and they're a little bit rusty here, too. Here's the back judge right here. He signals touchdown. But Buckhalter didn't get that first touchdown of his career. Not yet. Yeah, I mean, everybody's coming back, getting back into the groove. But that man was in a groove today. McNabb.
Charlie Rogers from the 9. Wrapped up by Mike Caldwell. Next week, Fox NFL Sunday begins with America's #1 pregame show as JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris get you ready for kickoff. Then Leroy Glover and the New Orleans Saints take on Jesse Armstead and the New York Football Giants in a showdown of NFC powers. Or Jamal Anderson and the Falcons battle Jake Plummer and the Cardinals. Plus other regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, right here on Fox. And keep in mind, we've got just over 4 minutes left in this one. If there's time, we'll take you to the conclusion of the San Francisco-St. Louis battle. Last we saw, that game separated by just a touchdown. San Francisco down and with the ball.
See Ricky Waters shaking his head coming back to the huddle. You know, it's a hard day when you're going against your former team, like Ricky Waters is. You know, 3 years in Philadelphia, he wanted to put a good showing up against the Eagles. But when you're down like this, you know, you don't get much of an opportunity.
Ricky Waters, 18 carries for 83 yards this afternoon. Hasselbeck. Darrell Jackson, and he's hit immediately by Bobby Taylor.
I tell you, this Eagles defense, they came a-hitting today. You know, you got to look at this defense now, Curt, is one of the most dynamic in all the league. Because guys like Bobby Taylor and Troy Vincent, Brian Dawkins, they've been together for at least 4 years.
Take a listen to this hit.
Gerald Jackson had a hard time hanging on to that football. He led this team in receptions last year as a rookie. It gives you an idea just how young this team is.
On another 3rd and long, Seattle has to get to the 37-yard line. Hasselbeck going there. Bobby Ingram, the veteran, incomplete.
That was the best ball that Matt Hasselbeck threw all day, too.
Yeah, it hit him, and Ingram couldn't hold on. Bobby Taylor was on it.
2 great plays by Bobby Taylor in a row. The big hit to knock the ball loose and then just stripping the ball out of his hands.
So yet another 3 and out for Seattle. The 6th one of the game. Kind of hard to score if you don't sustain drives. See what the whistles are about. I think this is going to be a challenge to see whether or not Bobby Ingram made the catch. Our referee, Dick Hantak. Either that or he's going to the locker room for a bathroom break. One of the two.
I think he's going underneath the hood here. Holmgren making his first challenge here today.
Well, they never announced the challenge, but that's what we have to assume it is as he's putting the headset on and looking in the box. Seattle asked for the challenge to see whether or not Ingram did make the catch. Take a look.
Yeah, here he is working on the outside against Bobby Taylor. Just a stop route, enough for the first down. Good throw into the chest. You know, did he have right here? He's right on top of it, saying not a catch.
The question is, did he have control?
Does he have control of the football?
He got the feet down and started to take a step. Looks like he did.
The ball can't be moving inside the hands.
He forgot to announce. Now he went back to announce that Seattle had challenged it. So now Dick Hantak will go back and take another look.
Mike Holmgren said that he was a little crankier here than usual during the week, getting ready to coach up against Andy Reid.
That's the look of a cranky man, isn't it? You know, Andy Reid wouldn't bite when we asked him if he's looking forward to facing Mike Holmgren for the first time. But anytime you face your mentor and someone has taught you, you look forward to those kind of matchups. One more look at the Ingram play. Did he make the grab? It looks like he made the catch and turned around and take a step towards it. The question is, did he have control?
Yeah. And control is marked by, does the ball move in the hands? Is the ball still and frozen in the hands?
I'll tell you, that first replay was probably the best angle where you could actually see the ball itself and whether or not it was moving. Dick Hantak has made his decision, look like.
Holmgren said that Andy used to ask him a million questions.
After reviewing the play stands as ruled on the field. Incomplete pass. 4th down.
They decided, I guess, the ball was moving, so.
Yeah, more bad news for Mike here today. You don't really see it from that side, but I thought you see it from the front, Curt, that the ball was still being shifted in Ingram's hands.
So Seattle loses the challenge and loses a timeout.
Nonetheless, that's the second ball that Bobby Taylor has stripped out today. He forced a fumble earlier from Christian Faria.
Jeff Fiegel's on for his 10th punt of the afternoon, ties a career high. Ryan Mitchell from the 10. Marcus Bell brings him down. 61-yard punt by Fiegel, so he's having a good afternoon. But
next week, the Eagles play Dallas, and then they play host to Arizona. Back-to-back weeks, then they get the bye, so they see a little bit of the NFC East here. The next 3 ball games. Of course, the Giants won today, so that's been their nemesis in the NFC East. Play them on a Monday night game this year, and then
they've lost 9 straight to the Giants, including the playoffs. 8 straight in the regular season.
They were talking a lot about Matt Hasselbeck today. You know, Andy Reid basically drafted Matt Hasselbeck.
He's responsible for him being here.
Yeah, I mean, he drafted him in the 6th round when he was in Green Bay, and then he coached him the first year. And he's been talking to him. He has conversations with him still all the time. They talk to each other before the game.
Hasselbeck says he was drafted in the 6th round by the Packers, and had Andy Reid not come and scouted him and wanted to get him, he may not have been drafted, he doesn't think.
Well, he's a guy that didn't even go to the combine, the scouting combine.
Terrell Buckhalter stopped in the backfield by Anthony Simmons. Buckhalter with his 16th carry of the day, and that's faced by Hasselbeck, pretty much says his mood all the time. He's smiling, whether it's up, whether he's down, and that's one thing, I guess, as a coach, you look forward to building on. You know you got a guy who's not going to get down in the dumps.
You know, it's not a good day at all, and you're going to have days like this. You know, we've been watching Jeff Garcia here today in San Francisco, and we were there last year when he got benched in the 2nd week of the season.
In favor of Rick Meyer. That takes us to the 2-minute warning. Philadelphia on top, 27-3.
Two minutes left to play from the shores of Lake Washington.
Somebody forgot something, didn't they?
They went overboard.
It's not that bad, Seattle fans.
Yeah. They just went under.
2-minute warning. Seahawks.
Yeah, they
trying to hide, the fans are, down 27-3. There will be better days. Terrell Buckhalter fights his way out for a gain of about 5. You know, this is normally the portion of the game when we read the credits so that you can know the fantastic folks who helped put together today's broadcast. But knowing that this game is being televised in both New York and Washington, D.C., the men and women of our crew wanted to express their condolences to the families and friends who lost loved ones in last week's tragic events. We all hope that the work we've done bringing you this telecast today somehow brought just a little bit of joy to your hearts, even if only for a little while. And talk about work. Can we ever say enough to honor and thank all the firemen, police officers, rescue workers, and volunteers who continue to give of themselves just to try and offer some relief to us all. Terrell Buckhalter again.
Well, I think, you know, for everybody out here today, Curt, you know, our crew working the cameras and the coaches, the fans that came out, I mean, I think it's been therapeutic for everybody to get their minds off of what we've been watching on TV for the last 12 days.
Seattle calls the timeout. You know, I always go back to what Howie Long said in his induction speech into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and how baseball is America's pastime, but football is America's passion.
Yeah.
And you saw the passion on display all across America today at every game in the National Football League. And people now feeling that, as I said earlier, it's time to move forward. We'll never move on. We'll never forget this. But moving forward and continuing with our lives, one of the best ways you can honor those that passed.
Yeah, just, you know, a week ago, Curt, guys were afraid to look up at a plane flying overhead for fear of what would happen. And I think you start to put some of your fears behind as you move on. And don't stop waving the flags.
Sean Landetta on the punt.
Right in the middle there. Brings out the penalty flags.
Encroachment, defense, nose guard.
Dick Hantak and the fellas
Didn't get a dress rehearsal. Looked like they may have needed it for a while.
And those McNabb fans are nationwide now, too. I mean, that was one of the most popular jerseys sold in the NFL this past offseason. Second in the league for MVP a year ago.
Well, with displays like he's had today, you certainly understand why.
You know, do you think that's another McNabb jersey that he's swinging? You know, you see a bunch of them in the stands. You know, if one it's dirty, you have the backup. I don't know. Oh, I guess not.
That's an old Ricky Waters jersey.
Ricky Waters jersey. See how quickly they forget.
Yeah.
Kurt?
Now it's a waving towel.
Yeah.
There are a couple of LaVon Kirkland jerseys, as the Seahawks fans certainly hope for better days from their team that yet to score a touchdown this season. They're measuring after the penalty to see if they got enough for the first down.
The Seahawks fans are going to have to be patient on offense. I think defensively they've improved.
And the penalty gave them the first down. You know, the way this game has gone for Seattle, that's probably an appropriate finish.
And one thing you know about Ricky is he's going to line up next week, you know, like he has for the last 9 years plus. He's going to line up and play his hearts out. He one guy in offense today that performed.
Yeah, Ricky Waters, 18 carries for 83 yards. Had 140 yards combined in the season opener. Philadelphia content to just take a knee. Keep in mind, as this game finishes, we'll try and get you down to San Francisco for the conclusion of the 49ers-Rams contest. A big day of big smiles for the Eagles.
Yeah, Hugh Douglas always finds something to smile about. You know, he was talking about, you know, the rats in the vet. Yeah. You know, how big they are. You know, the rats eat the cats at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia.
He's always talking about something. We were talking to him.
He loves Philadelphia, though.
He loves it there. He doesn't want to move to the new stadium.
Yeah, he bought a brand new Ferrari last year. You know, he had a fleet of cars, about 8 cars. He bought a Ferrari. But he said he can't drive it through the streets of Philadelphia. There's too many potholes. Just
well, he likes it that way. So the Eagles will go to 1-1. Andy Reid getting a chance in his first contest against the guy who brought him into coaching, basically, starting at BYU in 1982 as a graduate assistant under Mike Holmgren. Will get the victory facing Holmgren for the first time. Holmgren watches his Seattle team fail to score a touchdown for the second straight game this season. And they're going to fall 27-3, drop to 0-2 on the year. Or make it 1-1, pardon me. Both teams will be 1-1 after this. That'll be the final play. Jim Johnson, defensive coordinator, and Andy Reid congratulating each other on a job well done as the Eagles put up 27 points and their defense stands strong, giving up only 3. As a matter of fact, Seattle had only 147 total yards in this ball game against the Philadelphia defense.
Yeah, and that man had a breakout day here for the Eagles, what he was brought in here for, and he can't have the breakout day unless Donovan McNabb delivers it to him, and that man was special today, as I think the entire National Football League has seen.
2 touchdown passes by McNabb, both to Thrash, who had 165 yards receiving. McNabb also ran for 1. Matt Hasselbeck, well, this was a tough afternoon for the kid in just his second NFL start. Only 9 completions and 62 yards. But there will be better days. Mike Holmgren knows that. He's got the frown on his face right now, but one day knows he'll be able to turn it upside down. But it won't be today. Eagles win it 27-3. Back with more after this.